see we're late, that's fine.
No, I'm just curious. No.
Editorialize. Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It's Monday, the 26th of September. The first order of business is salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm gonna ask that you review and approve the minutes.
I have
Which one?
a set of minutes from May 9th that someone from the public has pointed out an error in May 9th, an error in transcription. I'd like to take the opportunity to correct that transcription
For historical purposes?
for accuracy purposes.
Oh, this is the one that was in the paper?
Yes.
And in fact, he was correct.
I'm sure he was. Why don't we state on the record that he wasn't? Sure. I mean, I don't know how much difference it makes, but I'll certainly entertain a motion.
Are you entertaining a motion? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we correct the minutes of Monday, May 9th, 2022, to read, Katie Paterno and State Representative Glenn Cordelli met with Selectmen to explain that there has been some redistricting going on, and there will now be 2 representatives for Tufton Borough and Wolfboro, and Katie will hopefully be elected as a representative.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next set of minutes is Tuesday, September 13th, the meeting minutes.
I've read those. They look accurate enough to me. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is a non-public minutes from 19th.
No, just work
No, that
session.
was
Oh, I'm
work
sorry.
session.
Work session.
I'm sorry, it's a work session from the 19th.
Looks accurate to me. I move we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will not vote because I wasn't here. Okay. The next item for business is Susan Burnside, I'm sorry, planning board budget fee changes. I'm ready.
Okay, where's your first, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the letter you just handed me.
Is this right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we're looking at, the first one is administrative assistant, being Susan, okay? She's budgeted at $14,133. She's a grade 6, 14 hours weekly this time. Right now in the budget, it's budgeted in 2023 at $14,662. Okay. We're coming short of that this year on that, but really significant, probably like $3,000 in the 2022 budget.
What's attributed to that?
Well, I think we were without Susan for some time, okay, in between the moves between Leanne leaving and Susan coming in. Somebody was in between shortly, but we had holes in that. Tuition reimbursement, any questions, any further questions on that?
Are you sure that 14 hours is enough?
I think it's an average. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's over.
Are you both comfortable?
I'm comfortable with it. She's comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it.
You're the one doing the work.
Yeah.
You're comfortable with 14 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. On the tuition reimbursement, we have $1,430 in there, okay. It appears that in 2023, we really haven't used any, although we have some things coming up now. I think because of the COVID thing, a lot of problems with the meetings, a lot of meetings were canceled. You couldn't take advantage of it. They have some Zoom sessions happening shortly also, and there'll be more of that activity. So we try to encourage the people to deal with that, but some will, some won't. On advertising, there's $1,100 in the fund. There's no change from last year. It's level funded. Right now we're at $502 used. Okay. Then Lakes Region Planning. I'm seeing that's not really our budget, but it goes in our budget. So what's the reason on that, Susan?
Kathy could
Oh,
explain
okay.
that.
Hi, so Susan called and that's what they said they were gonna charge this year. The reason the selectmen it's in your budget because it's planning. And the selectmen like being a member of them, they do grants, I don't know
Well,
why,
so did the master plan, didn't they?
you know.
Or a good part of it.
Have we benefited from their services?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The planning board does use their services.
But they did a culvert study, for example?
All of the highway planning goes through Lakes Region
Yeah.
Planning Commission, so we can't apply to the state with some highway.
So you need to have it.
Yeah.
And you're stuck with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we stopped using their services a couple of years ago.
We could do it on our own, but we'd be at an extreme disadvantage.
They wouldn't even listen to us.
Okay, that's,
They won't, it's structured, so you have to go through a regional planning.
so they got a gun to our heads.
Does conservation use their services as part of this? You know that?
On the conservation rep, and to my knowledge, no, but they use the Lakes Region Conservation Commission,
Okay.
which is another
That's a different.
bulky government.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Well,
Supplies.
So you're getting a new
Okay.
printer?
Yeah, we adjusted it to, I don't know why this says 2,000 here.
Oh, yeah,
That's actually adjusted to 12, is it 1250?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
that's
really
what Warren
1250,
says.
okay. We went back on that. She needs a new printer, she needs some supplies, printer,
Right.
ink, so on and so forth.
We're gonna get a laser printer rather than an inkjet, right?
So we're dropping down there from our past, last year, 2,000 dollars, so. Postage. So we're reducing postage to what, 1,000 this year from 2,000. We're at $626, okay, right now, so sounds reasonable. That went up. Books and periodicals, we have $150 into that, and that's really, what we use that for is the RSAs, the RSA book, land use book. Okay, so that gets us 11 copies. And I think we supply each one of you guys one of those, and probably Jack, and then the planning board. Now Susan, by the way, on that, they also offer, so you can download it into your system. So she's gonna put a downloaded copy in her system. So if we need something else for somebody, new member, or somebody coming in, or an RSA, she can print it for anybody, okay? So, recording fees. We're staying at, recording fees at, $200. We're up to about 178 right now, recording fees. So that's pretty simple side of it.
The next group that's on your budget is ZBA. Jackie gave me her numbers for ZBA. So I don't know if you wanna look at them at the same time.
Why don't we do this on, you'll have to do this on this budget anyway. Let's create a budget with these numbers, because these are the recommended numbers.
I did make you one.
And I have no
It's in
idea-
your green thing.
Is it?
Under my
right in there in that.
I did a bunch of budgets for you. They just happened to come in for theirs.
I see, I didn't wanna look at that,
You didn't wanna look at that? I see that.
because it's just confusing, you know, ZBA, ZBA, where it is.
But they
Yeah,
have
just put
to,
it in,
they have to
put it in
do
together.
it all at once.
I just didn't wanna go through the extraction of it all.
Okay.
There's only one page, says planning. and
Yeah.
zoning.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
well, you should, yeah,
We should have one, just one page.
this one. She pretty much went flat other than postage because it's gone up.
Alright, and periodicals are 150 still, recording fees at 200. And CBA is flat with the exception of postage.
You got it.
Okay. Now we're back to master plan implementation.
Master plan implementation. There's several things in chapter 8 for us to look at and deal with. And if we decide to do some of these things and they make sense, then we need somebody to write it up properly, okay? So we can, now, the goal here is that we meet with different boards, if it was concerning, for example, conservation of some type. We meet with the conservation committee, we all decide we do want this, we wanna do it, so we'd have to work up a warrant, okay, for the town, for a vote. So we need to really have that professionally done. At the same time, there's other things in that plan that don't require, town votes, okay, they're simply adopting. We still have to write those up in a certain fashion, and then we record those. They'll be recorded in the master book of when they were done. But I don't know where they were ever filed in the past, when they ever did them for the past 2006 plan. So we're gonna try to find that, where they are. And if they're not somewhere, we're gonna create a place to put all those type of things. Okay, so we went at about $2,500, I think would be totally sufficient for what we do this year. There's high priorities, there's low priorities, there's medium priorities throughout that.
And that can't be done by your attorney?
Okay, I'm gonna start talking about the attorney in a second here, because if I can jump forward for a minute. I put in here $2,500 also with planning consultant fees, okay? Now, I had mentioned to Bob in one of our meetings that I felt the town probably could use a part-time planner. However, that requires, again, a warrant, okay, and go to the town for votes. The other way, we can do it on consulting fees too. So if we had a consultant that's a planner, okay, it would be very nice to go to that person, which we can immediately get answers on, you know, when they're attorney type questions, or New Hampshire municipal, we wait somewhere from 3 to 5 days. Sometimes we get a partial answer, sometimes it's pretty dry. It's just not put into how we use it, okay? If we go to the planning board attorney, it's very expensive, okay? This person here that can do this is like at $100 an hour, but you can get a lot from this person quickly in the formats that you need. The attorney, I think, is really more technical for
The only question I was making was, you got three areas where this question is being answered. One is this $2,500 master plan implementation, one is the $2,500 consultant, and one is a $20,000 legal fee.
So the legal fee is the one I haven't talked about yet. I look at $20,000. I don't know how that number really came up, or if that's a boiler number for protection of the town, or for the planning board, what happens, but I don't see $20,000 as being our number for the attorney. I think that number could be $15,000, okay, something less.
Well, the attorney anyone that's not on this,
No, cause it's
Not
only
here.
4153 is what
Yeah.
it carries under.
and how much did they spend last year?
Look, I'll tell you in 1 second.
That's kind of the question I've been asking.
So it's on the administrative budget, not on your budget, not on one.
The 20,000, depending what she shows, a lot of that could have been the Farm Island deal.
Could have been.
Yeah.
So do you think,
Those deals happen all the time.
What's that?
I mean, I'd rather have 20 grand sitting in the pot waiting for Farm Island than I would have zero in the pot. And Farm
No,
Island
I'm with you,
happens.
I'm with you, that's why I said, and I'm not sure 20 is the right number,
I'm
but,
not either.
but
So that's-
you really need to keep something in the,
is that the number that we had last year, 20,000?
Yeah.
Do you think you could comfortably offset that $20,000 with the 2,500 for master plan implementation and the planning consultant fees? You've got $5,000 there.
yeah, not so much, well, the master plan implementation, for some of those routes, you wouldn't necessarily want to go to your attorney on that, you know, we'd want.
Well, no, you could go to the consultant if that's
But the
the route you
consultant
chose
fees
to
would
go.
definitely offset.
What I was
attorney fees.
suggesting is if you're talking about adding $5,000 into the
Right.
budget, and you're also talking about reducing the legal fees, I see that as a, you know,
It's an offset.
it's an offset.
Yeah.
So if you could
But I
lower the
think
legal
it's,
fees
I
by
think it's,
$5,000, that would cover
we'll
the.
see what her answer, but I think that's reasonable. That's what I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you, yeah. Yeah.
Here she comes.
1,387 this year so far.
So you
That was
spent
this year, so it's,
$1,400.
it's probably the previous, did you ever look at the previous year prior to that? I mean, that was the Farm Island deal, and a lot of stuff was going on then.
Yeah, it was like 13,000.
Okay, so it's, yeah, it had a proper end at that time.
And the subdivision engineering fees, are those new fees?
I'm not sure what those are. It was in last year, and, you know,
That's,
kind of wanted to ask.
that gets recovered, Bob.
I
It's an
think
in and
that's-
an out.
Is that an in and out?
But it doesn't come back into their budget, it comes into the general
Goes
fund.
into the general fund, but still, it's
That,
an in
that
and
is
an
a
out.
fee that would be used to inspect a road, being accepted, I take it,
Right.
you know, for any one of the subdivisions, something that we require, not so much that the applicant would pay for.
The applicant still pays for it.
But we still have a budget for it.
So if the planning board says we need to have an engineering firm go inspect the work you've done to accept that town road that you're building to town specs,
Right.
we bill the applicant for that?
The applicant does get billed for that.
Okay, so
But
I'm billing,
you have to pay it, and then the applicant pays it back to the town.
all right, so when you look at engineering fees, for example, if they come to us with a plan, all right, let's say Farm Island came to us with a plan. We said we want that to go to our engineering firm, and at that time it was Horizons we chose. All right, so it went to Horizons, but they paid Horizons directly. Okay, I'm not sure why that is. I don't believe that they should be paying, I think we should be paying them, then they pay us.
That's generally the way it works, but I'm not sure, I mean, it's a,
See, that's the little curveball.
difference without
I think we've gone off the
distinction.
tracks a little bit with it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the way it should be, since we legally have the right.
There are
See that.
engineers, so we should be paying them.
Right. So, we've done a review just recently of, what is it called, Backlanders, okay? They have a cluster development that they wanna change. Now, they wanna change it because wetlands have infiltrated and they've been built for years on them, so they gotta move things around. But in our site plan review, calls for attorneys, the planning board attorney to review the change.
Yep.
So what I did with it, and I led it back to them, is that they would bear the responsibility of that payment to us. So in other words, we pay for it, they reimburse us.
Right.
So, and I think that's the way most of them go. They don't always call it out in our book for different things that we do, but in particular cases, I think that, so we're in agreement there. Good. So many things you learn every day, Chip.
No, I'm sure.
Kathy, why aren't I seeing the legal fees?
Because it's done under 4153. The legal is all done under one program.
Yeah.
And you haven't gotten all of it yet.
So you feel comfortable with 15,000?
Legal fees?
Yeah.
Seems like that's a good number to me, because you're taking, as we said,
I
you
mean,
take
it's a
it-
good buffer. You went to 13,000 that 1 year before.
I mean, we can agree on the 15, but that's in the budget that we're gonna look at.
Right, but I'll jot it down and put it in there.
Right. we're gonna look at it as this budget,
All right,
separate from the legal.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna make a note.
that's my
So-
recommendation.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And that's it, I think. Is there anything else? No, that's it.
So I do need to look at these
Oh, we do
dates.
have to talk about the fees. Yeah.
We can make changes.
Town of Tupelo planning board fee schedule.
Are we,
Right.
do we vote on this
Yeah.
as the Board of Selectmen today?
Yeah, we can or we can wait.
Why would we wait?
Yeah.
This is the first moment in the time that we've seen it. So if you wanted some more time to consider it, you have the ability to wait. I'm not recommending that we wait, I'm just telling you that's why we might wait.
I move that we accept the 2023 presented budget of $36,134.
Second?
Okay, for discussion. We got a motion and a second. That's not how we do this, but that's fine, it's been done. But what we should be doing is looking at these numbers, comparing them to last year's numbers, having a discussion about it. Because personally, I think $2,500 is a lot, it's too much money for their master plan implementation, because I think they're double dipping on it. I think the legal is gonna go down $5,000, so that offsets the $4,766 gross difference in the budget. But there's still some creep here that I'm concerned about a little bit. So I would be more likely to say, let's go line by line in a discussion. This is how it generally happens. I'm not yelling at you or criticizing you or anything.
My feelings aren't hurt.
Generally how it happens is, we will go through line by line and agree to disagree, modify or not modify, come to a bottom line, and then vote. That's generally, now, in this occurrence, we're only looking at a net gain of $300, but it's not a big deal, but that's generally the process.
Well, in due respect for the chairman's position, if you'd be willing to withdraw your second, I will withdraw my motion and we'll do it in the order in which our chair.
Or we can vote on it.
I thought we just did that.
Let's do it like that.
Okay, let's just vote on this, we'll get rid of this, and we'll have a longer discussion at some other point, because I don't think we need to burden them with our discussions. But we didn't do that. He presented his numbers and described what they were for.
Yes. And we
That,
did.
he did his job, and his assistant did her job.
Well, I'm gonna withdraw my second then.
Okay, then I'll withdraw my motion.
And we'll go through this at our convenience.
All right, yeah, because we're gonna go through approving budgets, and we're gonna do them without the parties here.
Okay,
Well, there will be budgets.
So-
okay.
All right, that would be,
That works.
yeah. And you-
May I just say one other thing? So, as far as the double dipping goes, it is the same person. I separated it because the master plan is totally different from consulting. Anyways. So,
So you
that's
think-
why I
you think-
broke out the categories, so we
Okay.
could actually see
But
that.
you
this
think
is
that
different.
expense is for that consultant and expertise is gonna cost $5,000?
For the two of those combined,
Okay.
yeah, my best estimate, yeah. So, I'm just,
I would rather have it on one line than on two, personally,
so,
and that enlightens our discussions, because we may just make it on one line. And then your utilization of the consultant,
and she's like $100 an hour.
right, and
You know, travel is zero, she has to travel here, whatever.
Right.
But, you know, simply, she could, if I wasn't at the meeting, or I was gone and nobody knew what to do, basically, she could come.
So is she coming to your meeting?
No, I asked her to come to the meeting, so this,
Okay.
I could simply do this over the phone. If I asked her, if we voted her in as part-time planner, she would be at these meetings. So, for example, she manages town of Antrim, town of Troy, as their part-time planner, she goes to every meeting. Antrim's never paid more than $5,000 a year for services, so it's, you know.
And I'm not a,
But the point is,
right.
she doesn't
okay.
really need to come to
So you
meetings
may
if they can
find-
prep us up front.
You may find your budget presented back to you with one line.
Yeah, that's fine.
As opposed to two.
I just did it out of
And
convenience for
I'm
you
not
people.
in agreement with your notion that if you add a part-time planner, you have to go through the town meeting, because you don't. We're not putting her on the payroll, we're not adding benefits, we're just, it's like hiring an engineer.
Well, I kinda got that through Bob.
Okay.
I think you referenced that one.
Well, I think if you wanna hire another employee, I think that we need to, the
Right.
selectmen need to,
If they become an employee.
yes.
But
So,
we haven't had that discussion, so that's,
so if you could do that without a warrant,
Yeah.
all right, the match you pay for both those categories would be probably no more than $5,000 a year. You could get her to come to meetings when she has to come to meetings. She does not charge for travel. You have a resume, and I give you that pass.
Yeah, I've got that, and I passed that through to the,
Yeah.
okay,
You
so
should probably look at
so-
that.
so another element of why we need to discuss this a little more in depth when we do these.
Yeah.
But that might be a better approach, because I'm thinking that having some professional help in place when you're in a difficult situation might help, rather than shoot from the hip
Exactly.
or untrained volunteer government.
yeah, we talked about it at the planning board for those reasons alone.
Yeah,
I supported it.
I'll give a copy of that to Susie. She'll make a copy for you, so you don't have to.
Okay.
You can't find
Good.
it.
It's in your email somewhere.
Awesome. That's
But,
excellent.
I'm sure it is, I'm sure I read it, I just don't
Somewhere.
remember everything.
Yeah.
So you're all right with that, we'll
I'm good.
review and approve.
We're good. We'll get a copy of that.
We're good.
We're great shape. Appreciate your time.
And these are the modified planning board fees?
All
Yes.
right, let me go through that.
Yes. And are we gonna need a public hearing to accept these?
We are,
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be noticed and,
So you do need the public hearing on
yes.
that?
and
These are the fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, we adjusted the fees and they really went, I think they all went down, some went down.
Yeah.
The fees went up a while back. Matt decided, we should raise some of our fees and make a little money. And we can't make money.
no, you're not
Okay.
making business.
So we've since, Susan and I got together and with Bob, and we've since decided to put these fees back down. We had somebody come in recently, the fees were fairly significant for such a small deal. This is free. So we adjusted these fees back down immediately, and that's where we're operating now. And we've looked at other towns and so on and so forth, and we're equal or on the lower end of other towns, so, and depends on what the categories are, but.
All right, and having said that you're not in the money-making business, you're also not in the money-losing business.
Okay.
So as long as our costs are being covered,
Yeah,
on
exactly.
this, then we're fine.
Yeah,
We'll figure that out soon enough.
I think they are now. We looked at it, so, because some of these people get multiples of this, it's not, it's one line item, so. We recently did Farrell's little farm up there, and what was the number up to, like $450–500 in fees?
Yeah.
Well, for it was about,
I know you've been in touch for a long time, but the rest of the world pays a lot more money in fees than they do here. And I have to look also at although you may not be using this person for your planner.
if you want.
If you had a planner that was sitting in, you
Yeah.
don't have anything here that says, okay, we're gonna charge you $200 for the planner. That person's just on the board to make the thing go smoothly. It's still an expense.
Yeah.
So it's,
We did compare the fees that we have with Ossipee, Molten Borough, and Wilkesboro,
yeah,
and this is pretty consistent with what.
and that's good. So it's
Yeah,
defensible,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
Wolfboro would have much more expenses.
Yeah,
They have a full-time planner, but, yeah, so we did compare them all. And, but I understand what you're saying.
okay.
I know that the state looks at these things at times. It says, your fees are too high, or they're good, or,
They can only recommend, they're not the local government, but they can do whatever they want to. So are fees changing so that we need a public hearing?
Do we need a public hearing for this change?
I don't know, that was a question I was
You're
asking.
asking me, I'll
We would only need a public hearing if the fees are going up.
I'd have to check the RSA.
Two of them, I think, went from $12.55 to $12.60,
Okay.
and that's up,
That's the change in postage.
yes, but it's,
Went up a nickel,
yeah,
5 cents?
a nickel, yeah.
yes.
Well,
All right, we'll check the RSA's and see if there's some bottom.
The rest went down. I'd hate to hold a public hearing for a nickel.
I mean, I could put that back to 12:55.
We're gonna be here.
I'd hate to hold a public hearing for a nickel.
All right, we'll check the RSA's to see what
You
the
can hit it, but it's legal.
lower limit.
If we need it, we'll fix it so we don't need them to substitute, you know, rather than bringing it was crazy, or a dime or 50 cents.
Yeah. So we're done, yeah. There's some talking going on. Okay.
Question on point of order, Mr. Chairman. I don't think we did public input. I think we jumped right to the approval of minutes.
We did.
You did.
Well, I saw Gordon was here and I didn't want to listen to him. So I guess we're done with the planning board. Now we'll ask for public input. Anyone?
Thank you, John. Had a meeting, another meeting of the board last week. Chip had made mention of the fact that the town is looking at potential solar power for this building and perhaps the fire station.
And the transfer station.
And the transfer station. At what level of discussion are you with, is this with a private company that we're doing this with? And the reason I'm asking, of course, is that as chairman of the trustees for the library, this is something we've always had in the back of our mind. And if the town is gonna be involved with the company that's doing this, project, we would very much like to be in on the conversation, perhaps with the library. So I just wanna know, is this something you're gonna pursue, or?
I think we are gonna pursue it. We're only in the discussion period now. We've only met with one installer or supplier.
Okay.
We've got a couple more hopefully that will come in. One of the proposals presented by that company was a larger array at the transfer station, which would offset all of the electric for the town buildings.
To be in net metering.
So if we want to include the library, maybe make changes to that scenario. Another scenario was putting solar here for this building and solar at the fire station and separating it.
I'm pretty sure that during under the net metering scenario up at the transfer station, the library was included in that.
Well, I'll leave it at the fact, if you're going to have further discussion with this,
Sure.
with this company, and if they're going to be here at the public meeting, could let me know, because I would very much like to be involved in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like, the more people the better actually, because I'm sure there are experts out there in the world that are smarter than me.
Well, it's a 5-year expense for a lifetime annuity after that, that's all I can tell you,
Yeah.
in my garage. That's all.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you'll keep me in the loop on that, I appreciate it, thank you.
We will.
Off to
Thanks
junior
for
varsity
coming.
football.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next item of business is the police.
Do you want to bump him?
I don't know.
Do we want to bump him?
Well, it's up to the chairman.
It's up to the chairman, because I have all kinds of budgets for you.
Right. Didn't you give those to us?
I did, in a stack.
Right. I think it's this particular staff. So,
Do
what,
you wanna do the police first, or you wanna?
yeah, I'm not gonna go line by line with you, but if there are major changes that you wanna illustrate to us, that would be fine. So let's let our administrative assistant go first.
All right, a quick question under my report that I gave you before the budget, sir. It's with your budget, it's on the top.
I'm sure it is. Okay, this one.
You got it? Okay. So Jack needs files for his plans. He's overflowing big time. And so I was wondering if it's a possibility, he was gonna put it in the budget for next year, but I remember we have that 21,000 encumbered monies for files in the file room. And the files would be purchased for the file room. Just he'll leave the ones he has here, put some in the file room, and move his files over there that are getting out of date.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters where we put them in the building.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Well, it's just the encumbered was for encumbered files for the file room, so I don't know how particular you are with those kinds of things. So So I guess I'm asking you if we could use the encumbered 21,000. His total for 3 file cabinets is 6,500.
And there's no other use we can put that money to.
No, you encumbered it for a
File
particular
cabinets,
thing.
Well, whatever is left over, I would suggest that we put towards any fire protection that we do in the vault if it passes warrant.
And was there fire protection in that warrant article?
Next
It
year for
wasn't a warrant
2023.
article, it was an encumbered
I
funds.
know, but we encumbered it from something.
Yeah, it was we actually just said to put files in the filing cabinet and you had quotes. That's it, you didn't actually.
So what'll happen is that whatever's left from that encumbrance will go back into the unencumbered fund. And we can reference that, I guess, if you want.
For fire protection for the
Fire
vault.
protection, if you put a warrant article together for 2023. Right?
Yeah, let's say, for example, there's $10,000 left over
Of encumbered funds.
of encumbered funds, and the project costs $48,000, we only need to raise 38.
Well, no, because the encumbered funds go back to the
Yeah.
general fund. It's
Unless you
not
have the
used.
deal, you can't encumber further.
Mhm.
And
And we won't by March.
a little by January or December 31st, which is when we have to do it.
Right.
Let's talk about where we get the money for the fire protection when we get to that.
Mhm.
Because there's any number of ways we can go. I've been not a fan of wording warrant articles where you're taking money out of the unencumbered fund to pay for the warrant article. Not to say that you shouldn't do it, I'm just, when I came in here 6 years ago, it was way overused.
The only reason I'm suggesting it is because it's for a similar purpose, just a different avenue of coming to the same use,
Mhm.
same end game.
Okay.
So the question before us is, can we buy 3 cabinets for $6,537.63 out of the funds that were encumbered to buy file cabinets? Yes, we can.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll let him order them then.
HEB has billed us for application for grants. Wasn't part of the money that we got from the state just to pay engineers? I thought that was part of that whole deal.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So you wanted to come out of the SL or whatever funds?
So,
I don't want you to make that decision yet.
That's why I'm
talk to HEB. Cause there's a,
I
One
talked
of
to
those-
HEB.
well, one of those grants was only for planning, not for actually doing.
These are the four, what we're being billed on is
Right.
the 4 grants.
Plans.
It's,
That's not for building anything.
no, but,
It's just to pay HEB,
right,
and that's what this grant was for, just for planning.
not according to them. They said,
That's
you
what you
guys
told
signed
me.
an agreement,
No,
you guys
Well, we
signed,
signed an agreement to make the application,
right,
but since that, we've gotten notification that we're getting money from some place in the bigger government that's specifically just for planning, cause I asked if some of that money we couldn't put into the bridge down there, or the dump truck, or wherever else we wanna go. He said, no, this is just for planning.
that's
So what-
bridges,
Let me chat with
Okay.
him,
great.
okay, just so we know.
Just let me know afterwards, cause they're sitting there waiting to be paid and I have to know where to pay them at.
All right, our credit's good.
Okay. All right, and then I have a number of budgets for you to review, so you have something for the budget committee. And then also you got the 2 bids for mowing.
Is that what this is? Okay.
So I don't know if you want me here for all this or not.
Where are the bids from?
He has them
Oh, yeah.
somewhere. What you do with the bids for mowing?
They're in the action folder.
We didn't copy them,
All right.
we figured you
Yep.
guys could review them.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, what we'll do is, Cammy will take notes, I'll take notes, then if we approve budgets, when's the next budget meeting is a week from tomorrow.
Yes.
so.
So they basically wanna know by Thursday so she can get the packages ready Friday, that whole deal.
Jane wants to know Monday afternoon, but
it's
Today,
gonna be-
she wanted to know today, and we're like,
It's
they're not
already
even
Monday.
meeting yet.
so she said she'd call me tomorrow. I'm like,
Okay,
When's the next budget meeting?
on the 4th, I think it is.
Yep, week from tomorrow.
And we've got a CIP meeting,
Where? Here?
yeah, the
Budget meeting?
budget's here.
Budget's here.
What do they
What
want?
time?
We have to, they have to.
I don't know.
Select. 6:30, I'm sorry.
All right, so then you don't need any of this from me.
No, I
Okay.
think, and that's, got another busy week, so I'll
Okay.
be able to walk through if there's a question.
Okay, I don't think that, these are pretty good ones, I just wanted to give them something.
And all of the salaries reflect the 4.7%.
On the ones I have here, yeah.
All right.
Just the 7.4%.
No, that's from Susan. On the salaries for Cammy and myself, I put in the one step. If you don't, you have to look at last year's and compare it, but that's one step for each of us. If you don't wanna do it, you're fine with taking it out. You just gotta look at your.
well, we're not really fine with taking it out.
Well. The assessor is a contracted amount, so that's, is what it is. Your administrative assistant for the planning, that did have the 7.5, and I think one step in there. And code officer, he is at his max, so his is just the 7.5, he has no other steps to go through. So his is 7.5.
Okay.
Run out of steps, it's time to retire then.
You're really pushing it in retire, huh?
All right,
And that's it, the rest of them are those, you know, like
yeah,
gifts and donations.
all right. Did, is transfer station coming in today?
Nope.
None of them have budgets
Yes,
yet.
transfer station is coming in.
Yeah, but he
Yes,
doesn't
yes.
have his budget yet.
Yeah, do you hire anybody?
He has 3 applications, I think. Cammy will tell you that, I'm out of that part.
You're up, sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
A tripling of felonies.
Yes,
Mon Dieu.
several of them were, I think I mentioned this last time, I looked at it, some of them were, people who, contracts that took deposits, we felt it was, they didn't do any work, we felt that was especially after months of trying to track this person down, that they had no, one place they actually sent photos of, these are the materials I'm ordering, still didn't show up or actually buy any materials. But we could not do anything with that, because I had to go to the county attorney, they didn't take it, and we referred them to the Attorney General's office under deceptive business practice, and they didn't take it either, so. There were probably 4 of those. Some of the others, I know there was a couple other like computer theft ones, credit card ones that ended up being out of state.
Okay,
So we've got the new cruiser, dropped it off on the 12th of September. It's supposed to only take a week to get done, unfortunately. Chevy sent 2 parts that were wrong, so I checked them, they have to get new parts. And they can't put like the console or much in, they put the lights on, but they can't do the inside work on the console until those parts arrive. I know when those are coming. The old cruiser I put up, it's on the Craigslist, it's on the town website, it's on the Facebook page for the police, and it's on, excuse me, New Hampshire Municipal Association. Sealed bids are due October 21st, that way, at 1 o'clock, and then meeting on the 24th would be the opening of the sealed bids. Coming also on October 29th is prescription drug take-back. We'll be signing up for that this week. 2020 Cruiser this morning struck another deer. Front end damage this time. Just got an estimate of $1,600 on that.
Jeff's are all right?
Yeah, it cracked the bumper cover and the valence and stuff, but
Did you deploy the airbag?
no. The officer was fine.
That's a deer.
Dead. Died right there. You had the video, it wasn't speeding, it was just coming, the deer just ran out, tried to beat the car and didn't. That's due to go into the shop this week, and the plan is to drop it off tomorrow and they can kind of do everything at once. Let's see. One of the things I sent the memo earlier, I was looking at the fuel calculations. It's going to increase my budget quite a bit, but it's fair. I mean, a long time ago, the way we assessed the allotment of fuel was based upon how many gallons we use, how many the fire, and how much code uses. We divide it by percentages. Well, it hasn't been updated for quite a few years, so earlier this fall I said, you know what, I need to look at this one again. Maybe it's off. I thought it was actually going the other way and drop us down. Nope, it went the other way. So not only is the price up, but we'll also be going.
So did somebody else's usage go down?
The fire department.
Okay.
And because it kind of makes sense to think they have more diesels and gas like they used to have. A little bit, anyway. So that's going to be a change to my budget in that line. Significant change, not only because gas is more expensive, but our percentage of the use is actually 17% higher than we were before. So
17 from what? 17%?
we're like 50, we're close to 70 now. We use most of the gasoline, but we were like 50, we were a little over 50 before, but we're really using close to 70. Well, it varied. Obviously, when people were out, we were lower of the percentage. We were like 60, but with everybody here, we're running around 70. I also got today, and I gave a copy as the emergency action plan for the Cops Pond. It came to the fire department too. I gave you a copy of it so you can have it. It's telling what happens, who gets notified if there's a problem with the dam there. Let's see. Part of the down motor vehicle stops, part of that is we had 2 of our radar units weren't working properly. Mine lost the screen, another one lost the audio. We had to send them back to the factory. They've now been returned. Let's see. State v. Randy Owen involving Camp Belknap. There's a conviction in that. He was found guilty. Sentencing's later this week. And then training. We still got, for the end of the year, we're going to be completing our training, and we're sending officers to class of investigation. Use of force and firearms are upcoming. That's what's going on.
Okay. Anything else for the chief?
I have nothing.
All right, we'll talk about fuel when you bring your budget to us.
Yeah.
A little premature today.
Well, I thought it was
Okay.
looking at it, and that was I had to be fair to the other departments.
So we got a little time before Matt Young shows up. What's your pleasure? You want to do signature or you want to go through budgets?
I'm up for signature.
Okay.
Sure.
The first item for signature is a benefit advantage services agreement. This is for health trust accounts that our employees set up, and they put the money in the health trust account, and they can use it for their health insurance needs. It requires one signature. Do you need to read it? Okay,
I don't think I do.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we sign it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
You can fill out all the particulars, right, Kevin?
Yep.
Alright. Tyler Phillips of Headwaters.
You had 3 signatures on this. I see 3 red tabs.
Oh, Jesus. Oh. Yeah, I'll sign it again. Tyler Phillips has attached the application form for a plan we would plan on submitting to the planning board. That's a lot of plans. He needs a selectman to sign. This is to go before the planning board in our subdivision application, which is actually not a subdivision, it's a boundary line adjustment. It's the next door neighbor at 19 Mile Pier.
Since I'm on the planning board,
Okay.
I'm not gonna,
I'll make a motion that we sign this.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
So it requires 2 signatures, so I guess Guy and I sign.
No problem.
Yeah, applicant signature and then owner signatures below it.
do I need to recuse myself from the planning board meeting on, as far as that's
No.
concerned?
No, you don't.
I think the other one is for the Mr. Southworth to sign.
Yeah, he signed.
One spot is you and one is him.
Right,
Yeah,
he's the owner,
correct.
so,
Well, yeah,
so we can have Guy sign as well, he's another applicant. Yeah, no, you're a member of the planning board, the selectmen's member of the planning board. So you gotta sign. Right there. And you can vote and do all the things you normally would do without having to recuse yourself from this. The next is a delegation of deposit authority. Pursuant to RSA 412911, the town treasurer has the responsibility to deposit all such monies received by the town. And it allows the treasurer to delegate deposit or other financial functions to other town officials. The town treasurer hereby delegates deposit function authority to the tax collector and his or her respective deputy for funds collected in that role. These deposits shall be made on a weekly basis or daily whenever receipts total $1,500 or more. That'll be interesting to police that. So he's, Jack Woodward's deputizing our tax collector for depositing funds.
I see no issue.
I'll motion that we sign.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And the next is a right of burial for Barbara and Clark McClure at 55 Durgan Road.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And next is a tax levy.
and Doomage,
And Doomage.
yes,
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Okay. Tax levy and Doomage.
What's Doomage?
That's the interest. Okay. And this is on map and lot 5236 and the amount of $665.
Is everything looking in order,
It does.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I'll move that we sign.
Do I hear a second?
Oh, sorry, second.
All those in favor?
Aye. I was thinking about doing Mitch. What a turn.
I know, right?
This has got, because it could eliminate the damage. Three signatures. The next is a tax levy for $1,215, it's tip tax.
With Dumage.
Don't matter.
With Dumage for lot 1629. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're asking me to multitask.
Sorry. The next is a timber tax,
With Dumage.
avec Dumage, for $636.27, map and lot 5123.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And this comes with photographs, that's nice. Start with us. And this is different.
That is just a Dumage letter.
This is just Dumage.
That's right.
For $796.03. And
See the map.
this is to Charles Sadowski of South Kent, Connecticut.
Okay.
Lot 7110.
I'll make a motion to sign.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's what happens when you go to Dumage. Called out. I haven't had an opportunity to look at the bids for mowing
There's only two.
until right this second. Have you guys looked at it?
No.
No.
Okay, then let's take it up. Let's take a, we're meeting next week, right?
Yeah?
Okay. Let's take a, take an opportunity to read these and take a look at it, think about it. Yeah. Looked at them.
Okay, can we just, can one of them, there's a one thing in the action folder other than the two bids,
Really? Let's take a look.
Yeah, got that done too.
right in the back. That.
Federal Highway Administration Local Aid and Support.
It's an opportunity for grants, but I'm not
So
sure
the
if
U.S.
he
Department of
wants.
Transportation announced today that it's accepting applications for two programs that will make approximately $160 million available annually for the next 5 years for projects that use technology to improve our transportation infrastructure and make communities safer. So, is there gonna be some explanation of this online, or?
It's all right there. The first one is on the first page and then the second one is on the second page.
Vehicle technology like automation and connectivity, that's pretty broad. Systems innovations like delivery and logistics, traffic signals, smart grid and data integration, and new ways to monitor and manage our infrastructure like sensors and UAS. I think what we need to do is give this to our friend Susan and have her get a little more meat on the bone.
Right.
At face value, it doesn't sound like anything that we can take advantage of
Yeah, you never know though, I mean,
without digging into it.
exactly.
Right.
Only 2 pages doesn't explain
Right.
$69.
All right. So we'll do that whole folder next week then.
This is a signature, that's done.
Does, Susan's only paid function here as planning board
No.
secretary, we get paid her for this stuff too?
Yeah, there's another line for help for administration.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not a lot, but it's there.
Yeah.
okay.
Jane's the administrative help.
Jane is for the budget committee.
But she's our clerical.
She's clerical, but we use Susan for grants.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Let's just walk through one budget here.
Okay, pick a budget.
I'm gonna pick the executive, because it's short.
I'll try to find it. So, okay, it's here somewhere. Huh. It's probably here. Executive, yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so line by line, we had the explanation for how the administrative assistant's salary changed. And it also added a step. Same with the administrative secretary. So those 2 items are the vast majority of the $9,600 increase in the total budget. The selectmen remained unchanged, much to my chagrin. Administrative overtime, we may want to reduce that. I don't know if we need it, as we've spent nothing on it.
Well, the biggest impact would have been changing of the time of our meetings to 4:30 twice a month.
Right.
But yet, there's been no impact.
Right, because they're adjusting their schedule to accommodate for it.
Is that working?
Is it working, Cammy?
I could care less.
That's a good answer.
I mean, I'm good with it. I just, I don't think it's any more people have come than came before.
No, that's clear. I made note of that in the,
I just think it's a convenience at this point.
more of a convenience for me than anything.
Well,
But, a convenience for me for my work schedule and
Well, if you look at today's agenda, we have people outside of town employee, well, the assessor guy, Mark Plantier, but Victor Druin's coming, doesn't seem to be holding them up, the fact that we're doing it later in the evening.
right.
I'd say,
No,
Yeah.
as long as we can be flexible like with our attorney.
sure,
I don't wanna pay her
no,
night rates.
Right.
all right, I will forego anything to
I
help.
still think it's a benefit. But to leave it, to your question, to leave it at $1,500?
No. I'm gonna make a motion that we change that to 1,000.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
On the next line, clerical assistant, we had a $1,500 budget, we spent just under $800. I'm not sure why it needs to go to 2,000.
Well, who put that number in there?
Our administrative secretary, or assistant.
Then I would ask that we,
I
ask
think-
her why we put that number of $500.
I don't see it as defensible, we can revisit these budgets.
She's here.
Is she still there?
I think she is.
Okay,
Yeah, she is.
can you ask her
Yeah.
to just come in and defend
Yeah.
this? On the moderator, that's gone down because we've only got one election next year.
Right, well, we have the town meeting,
That's
election
right.
kind of, yeah, very good.
Who's next?
Matt?
Hello. I'm just waiting
The only reason I upped it, and you can put it back down, of course, is because you're asking Susan to
Yeah.
work on grants, and that comes out of that line.
But she's been doing that since the spring.
She hasn't charged me anything for grants. A little bit here and there, but not much.
Because it's just doing a little bit here and there. I mean, I think,
And it's fine if you lower it, I just, anything you have Susan do that's not planning will come out of that clerical, just know that. So if you wanna drop it down, that's cool. And the other thing that comes out of that is,
She's been doing work like that, and you're telling us that she hasn't been billing us for it?
she hasn't told me of any,
okay,
she's asked me to look into some grants for her, but she hasn't,
right.
We need
Well,
to,
I'm not sure she's put that much time.
no, I don't think she's put
I think
anything
she's
into
put
it.
some time in, but not a great deal.
She's
It
been
also
working.
pays for the budget secretary, Jane.
That's right, that's the other reason, Jane comes out of that for budget, and the conservation comes out of conservation, but
Right.
any budget committee, so that's not showing yet, your expenses for the budget committee secretary is just starting right now, now she's gonna be having
Right.
regular meetings.
That's always the last.
It doesn't show up till the end, yeah,
I see Susan doing more work on grants this year, this upcoming year.
so you can up that then.
I'm
if you
looking
want.
for a motion here, guys.
I even wrote it for you.
I'll make a motion that we leave it at $2,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unless you wanna up it, that's fine, I just don't know what she's doing, so
Okay.
it's not.
So that would put the bottom line for this budget at $29,180.
I have a question for you while I have you, now that I see moderator, you asked me to leave, but, Jen's gonna talk to you about adding some pay to the ballot clerks and all that. They haven't had a raise in forever, but also the moderators are under you. I don't know if you wanna raise the moderators' pay too. They get $150 per election and $200 per town meeting, if you feel that's adequate.
So he doesn't need to be 350.
Yes, he does, cause he has
Oh,
one.
350 in one election, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
See, he still has an election left, which is, I don't know why it was at 800 for last year, they must have.
because we had
missed
3
it.
elections last year.
No, I mean, for this year, they put in 800 for 2022, and he only has one left, which will be 650, not 800, but maybe they miscounted elections, I don't know. But she was saying she's giving raises, I don't know if you wanna give raises to the moderator or not.
No.
Okay,
He hasn't come in to ask for one when I've had,
okay, he's new this year too,
yeah,
so,
still learning. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat my
sorry.
motion that we approve the budget for the executive at $129,180.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Oh, you're gonna say no?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of any step increases for anyone. I'm pretty sure that 7.4% is at least the equivalent of 3 steps and a little more.
Okay,
That's my reason.
all right.
But it's passed.
Let's do that. Okay, that's done, so let's do it differently next time.
Okay?
When we have a motion and a second,
I should have said for discussion, shouldn't I?
right,
Okay.
yeah,
Got it.
because that makes it easier.
Yes,
And you may convince us of the rightness of your cause.
I understand.
So what do we have there, please?
2 to 1, 129 and 180 on the administrative, or
What did you
executive.
change?
Executive.
So I-
Change the administrative overtime to 1,500, or 1,000.
Okay.
1,000 from 15.
Yeah, you know, I don't even know why we want that.
I don't either, but we got it. All right,
Well, we don't use it.
so next is Matt Young. Thank you.
Okay, you won't need me again, right? I'm heading home.
We need you, Henry, we'll see you next week. You're up, Matt.
Gentlemen, thank you for giving us some time. Years ago, I started a project, and basically every year, Marina tried to do something for the town, And a few years ago, I was talking with the fire department and Caleb and Adam about what's out there for projects and things that are problems. And everybody was talking about the lack of a crosswalk at Pier 19 because it's the highest pedestrian area we have by far. And I kind of felt like it was only a matter of time before somebody gets hit and somebody gets hurt. So here in Tufnboro, we don't really have a lot of infrastructure, so as far as people who can get something like that done, so I just decided that I would start looking into it. And 3 years later, here we are. It's a very involved process, but that is a fully permitted by DOT crosswalk plan. It would need an excavation permit, which you'd have to file for, but that's just something you go and get when you do it. The agreements are in place between the condominium slip holders and the store, which if anyone knows anything about them, that's very difficult, but it's one thing everyone agreed on. The town has, as you guys know, because I think you guys had to sign off on it, maintenance agreement with DOT. And essentially at this point, that project is ready for the town fathers to decide if they would like to proceed with it, which would be to get some estimates and to decide how you guys want to send that for budget, or if you want to go forward.
Shovel ready.
Did we have a cost estimate?
Nope, you'd have to send that out for some bids.
Okay, so you didn't do any of the finance part?
No,
Okay.
So at that point, the package is ready to go out.
Okay.
George DeFelice, who's actually helped me quite a bit with this, has an island home. He has a company that puts in crosswalks quite a bit. Has said he'd be glad to take a look at it, and he'd make sure that he was very fair with it, because he would prefer to work up here than southern New Hampshire or Massachusetts. So that would be a great place to start, but there's quite a few companies who do these all the time. But you would want to go to companies that specialize in
Right.
crosswalks, traffic control devices, stuff like that. It's not as simple as painting some stuff on the road. There's overhead lighting, there's flashing lights, there's buttons that people push. It's far more involved than I ever imagined it would be. So.
Well, the major reason I asked when Bob mentioned shovel ready, we do have some funds that we've gotten for highways and bridges that is, for all intents and purposes, off budget, and it's just for highways and bridges that we can spend immediately. But obviously we haven't gotten to the point where we have to put out the bid, so it'll be past the first of the year anyway. So.
You could, I bet if you got that out to DeFelice and a couple of other places, they would get that turned around as far as bidding fairly quickly. At least I know George DeFelice would, because
He already said he would.
he already said he would. So,
Okay.
Great.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for doing this.
yeah, no problem.
It's
Yeah, it's not often that private citizen does this level of work for us.
Actually, White Mountain Survey took great care of me. They charged far less than they probably would have if it was.
Kudos to them too as well.
They thought it was a great project. And I don't know if Adam, if you had some input about how important it is, or.
Obviously, on a daily basis, you see, when we're going through there, you see people coming out, walking across.
Yeah.
without-
I've crossed there many times
without
myself,
looking or
dodging
getting
traffic.
whatever. Even trying to get across yourself from there, from the fireboat over to the store for gas and stuff like that.
Well, I remember 10 years ago, or maybe more than 10 years ago when I was on the board, trying to get the state to slow the traffic down,
Yeah.
even if it's just in the summertime. And they refused to do that. We talked about a crosswalk then, and I certainly appreciate Matt's efforts because
Right.
I didn't see a way around getting that thing done.
So that's a huge effort to get that done.
DOT would not have approved that. It was because Jeff Bradley's office
Yeah.
got involved to get that approved.
Well, what they're looking for is a depth. That's how you get the traffic
Right.
circle over Ossipee. That's how we'll get
Yeah.
the Durgan Road, Ledge Hill Road junction fixed.
Shouldn't cost a life to get something
Right.
like that done.
But there are, and it's more and more in the hotter, I mean, you saw the beaches all summer, it was just,
The growth in 19 Mile Bay is gonna be quite a bit over the next decade or so,
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's water access, it's your pier, your launch ramp, your store, you know,
Mhm.
so.
I think saving anyone from getting hit there, you save one person.
that's all you need.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to get this out to this gentleman right away, so we can at least get a budget estimate.
Yeah, I mean, it may be something that we can get right after,
Mhm.
because we got a little bit of extra money kicking around.
Would you share the contact information with Cammy?
I'll send it off to Cammy. Yep.
Great.
He'll be here, he's up every weekend, so I'm sure he can.
I also know George.
Pardon me?
I know George.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know his
It's
contact
an
information,
inside
but
deal, like,
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
George is a great guy.
he is.
Well, thanks again, Matt, for
No
your
problem.
hard work.
Thank you. All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yep.
sir.
thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Take it easy, guys.
I don't know why the fire chief's here.
I was just here to
Support.
support that.
Oh.
Oh.
If we we're gonna reject it, I was gonna come out of my shell. No more government intrusion into our freedom to die.
There you go. One thing that I just wanted to touch was that, I don't know if anyone shared with you, but we did, or the funds are coming in for that $29,382 as far as reimbursement for those trailers.
Good.
So that's not a
Check us
loss.
in the mail.
It should be in the account.
Even better.
No getting lost in the mail.
Great.
So,
Thanks, Adam.
Have
And
a good day.
happy belated birthday.
hey, thank you.
Ah,
Yeah, happy birthday. I got a puppy for my birthday.
Thanks.
what?
Yeah.
Do
Okay,
you have a
so,
puppy?
No, I don't have it yet. I'll get
Oh.
one next month.
Shh.
Transfer station.
Yeah, I don't see the transfer station here yet.
Well, it's early.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Okay, let's revisit the last executive budget. If you feel as though you can convince your fellow selectmen of the rightness of your cause,
Mhm.
you can motion, not today, because we're busy.
Right.
Motion to revisit that budget,
Okay.
and then we can talk about it again.
Or I could second for purposes of discussion, yes?
No, it's too late for that.
I know it is now, but at that time, could I have done that? Or should, okay, that's it.
I mean, now you're left with, let's revisit the budget. And we may revisit a half a dozen of them
Bottom line,
when we look at the whole deal. So,
I got
just saying.
you. It works.
Okay, reevaluation of property, let's do
Yeah,
that.
that's a good one.
Did it? Okay, that's been reduced from 88,396 to 41,196. Because that 88,000 included the reevaluation process that went this year.
And we don't have to do that again?
We don't until the,
Well,
yeah.
we do a fifth of the town every year.
Yeah, we do, included in the 41,000 is not a real reevaluation of the town, but a review of all sales of the town, of the 1/5. Although they're all reviewed. So no, we don't have to do a reevaluation for another 5 years unless something in the economy drastically changes, either up or down.
So this extra money that we had to spend this year, they did the complete town?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody's done. And the reason it didn't cost more was because we do that 1/5 every year. So, the old days was we just didn't have an assessor for 5 years, and then we asked him to come and do that. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this budget for $41,196. That's budget 415201-312.
I'll second
For discussion?
for discussion.
I'm all set with it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, other government. Excuse me. This is, the Capital Improvements Committee, CIP.
Oh, I'm not there yet. Got it.
Capital Improvements Plan. So that's a printed.
Yeah, that covers their report.
$274. The Joint Loss Safety Committee, once again, has expenses from the reporting standpoint. So that budget went from $475 in 2022, $500 in 2023, and I'm gonna make a motion that we approve $41.99 other government.
Second.
$500. For discussion, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. Mr. Rule. Are we gonna have to listen to these people? We don't know that answer, I'm sorry. I'm asking long and.
Hello. Light reading for you.
Thank you.
You're up there, brother.
All right. You guys doing just wonderful all day. Wonderful. I'm so happy I could just roll right over and die. Don't do that. What did I give you guys? Transfer station running along. Give you a good cost. A good cost to you. Good cost. I think it really has. So. That's what's going on this month, for the last month. And the avoid costs, and
You want to go through that first?
that's the something that you've kind of been looking for.
Right.
It just broke it out for you by month.
Okay, so. Do you have a grand total? No.
It's about 90,000.
Okay. So when you come in with your budget, now that we have this,
Yeah.
something over tonight. When you come in with your operating budget, get the figure for the awarded costs for that period of time. Or was it August? Yeah, through August. So you got a grand total. And then we can, factor that into our discussion when we're doing the budget.
Okay.
That should be sometime first of October.
Yeah, I started doing my CIP stuff and working on that.
Good. And do you want Chris to do a day by day for us? Or other highlights?
I do a lot of reading. I'm noticing that some people have abused their use of the transfer station location.
Yeah.
Leaving waste oil, dumping cardboard when it shouldn't be. Things like that, dumping household trash in the aluminum can bin. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
that's a little much.
that's just wild.
It's people just doing foolish things that we, yes, we're right on something else, but we don't have somebody standing right there every second to watch them and stuff happens.
So you did ship out $45,000 worth of cardboard.
45,000 pounds, yeah.
Or, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So did you make any money on that?
Well, we made $3,000, that's on. Thank you, Jim. 3,000.
$124.
3,000 on when the August report,
Yep.
and then back in April we had another shipment,
Right.
which was, I'm sorry, it was, it was
3124.
yes, right, yeah.
Good.
Then we had some aluminum cans that we shipped out, which was another 3,000 in April, and we just shipped out another load, which was 2,700 in August. So, we're getting hurt right now on scrap iron, but that's to be expected with the cost of fuel and everything else. But
So,
Well, you're still coming out ahead,
well, it was, I mean, it's,
but just not making as much.
yes, it's coming, it's basically balancing out, but
so you're gonna be going to CIP for another compactor
yeah,
and, stuff, how to put it in or what you need to put it there.
yeah, and I think probably CIP will get the replacement compactor, and then I'll put the CIP, I'll give CIP that third one,
Yeah.
but we'll have to, I mean, I think we'll have to talk about whether we go for, go down for a special article for that third compactor, whether,
Yeah, we'll have to put a warrant article
Yeah.
together for
yeah.
Are you replacing one or adding one?
Well, this year it comes up for the replacement of that third compactor.
So you're not adding one? I thought.
Yeah,
we
we're
were
gonna add that, we want to add that
So
compactor.
what will add?
I'm confused.
Okay, well, he wants to add a compactor for, commercial haulers like Piper and those guys. So they're not,
Oh, not in the building, outside the building?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
To
and
take
whether
the,
we take the old compactor out of the building, put the new compactor in the residential use, or whether we put the new compactor in the other section. That's a discussion that we'll have internally here. But I think what he's thinking CIP is concrete pad and a compactor and the ancillary electrics that go with it.
Where'd you put it?
yeah, paved road that we already have off to the
Yeah,
side.
the dead end paved road?
The end paved road,
Yeah.
yes, perfect spot for it. We just need to put a 480-foot concrete slab at the end of it, and it's a perfect spot for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that that's a discussion that we'll have to have when we get to the warrant articles, but.
Yep.
It'd be nice to know the cost. So Annex gonna come up with a cost?
Yeah, I have the proposal right here.
Hold right on to it. Continue doing those things you have. And you'll give that to the CIP and then. So, are there any other issues coming up that you're taking to CIP?
Yeah, right, do you want that?
Oh my God, really? That's an awfully long list. Oh, it's all your description of who you are. 60 grand.
Well, that's 36,100 for the replacement. That's number 2, and then 37,700 for the new one plus construction cost. But that construction cost could be abated if we use probably Jim Beam to put the groundwork in.
Do we own, so we own these compactors?
No,
We-
what we own, the one that's in the building now, if we move that over, we would considerably, we would save buying a new one.
Well, we have 2.
Yeah, we would save buying one new one, but we would have to pay to have it moved.
Yeah.
We own both of those?
The ones that are up there, yeah.
Then you wanna take one of the, ones that we own and move it, and then put the new one.
Yeah.
So is this your only capital request from CIP?
Well, we don't have a capital request that we would like to put in would be, do something with the backhoe. Either,
Right, well, that's gonna have to happen at some point, right? Okay.
What's wrong with the backhoe?
what we either need to have it rebuilt or we need to,
The motor, or?
no, just have it overhauled.
Yeah, it's aging out, you know, they don't, I think, how old is, what year is it?
It's like 2008,
Yeah, so it's 12 years old.
How many hours on it?
it's like 4,000, something like that.
That doesn't seem like a lot.
Yeah, but it's the use of it. I mean, it's not a ton of hours, but it's getting used a lot. It's just, it's getting, it just needs to have some maintenance. I mean, case it's a good machine, but it needs some maintenance. And they recommend that we hang on with it, but it's a little underpowered for what we use it for, you know. So we just need to get some love.
Yeah, and Beauregard gave you another number, or gave you a different number? Or
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about replacement. I don't necessarily agree with replacing it with another backhoe.
Right.
I think if we're gonna do anything with it, we should just overhaul it and keep it as a spare machine. I mean, if we just replace it with one machine, we're gonna get the same boat. If that machine breaks down, I think if we're gonna get something, we should get something bigger, and keep that machine as a backup. I think we need my opinion is we need a bigger machine to move the containers, push the piles up, push the first pile up, piles a lot for that snow pusher, have a machine available to help the town crew if they need help. And I think a loader is the way to go. We don't need a gigantic loader like a sand pit, but we should have a loader. And then keep the backhoe, put some money into it, and use it to crush the containers. We'll get another 10 years easy out of it if we put a little bit of money into it. And we'll have a machine that's a backup. And then in the summertime, if the town crew needs it to do ditching, clean up the roadsides, we'll have a machine that we can share with them, borrow it, give them Robbie for a day, you know, to go help them, whatever. But
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at a loader might be a way to go. I'm not, in a perfect world, you can share equipment. We don't live in a perfect world. So when your backhoe breaks, it's gonna be the highway department's fault, or, it just gets messy.
Well, that's why I think it's important to send the operator with the machine,
Yeah.
not just send the machine away.
Well, a lot of that stems from the fact that we don't have a highway department or a town crew.
Right.
So, again, if you're gonna share equipment, who knows? Who's gonna be running or doing whatever, but it's not, again, as Chip says, then you get who blames who and what happens and when it breaks, and not necessarily the best idea. Nice sentiment, though.
Well, again, that's why when the fire department send the fire trucks to a different town, they send a crew with it.
Yes.
You know, mutually, if we send our machine to the highway crew, we'll send an operator with it. You know, I don't mind sharing it.
So have you gotten a figure for whatever rebuilding needs to be done on that?
Well, I haven't gotten a figure. I mean, it could be anywhere from 20 to 50,000, but I haven't gotten a figure. I know that every year we wait to do anything, it costs more money. I know, I just got a figure from Beauregard, and trade-in value on that machine that we have now went down $5,000, and the cost of the new machine went up $15,400 in 1 year. So I know that every year that we wait, we lose money, and the cost of the new machine goes up.
Well, assuming for the time being that we're not gonna throw one article together for a new backup, what is Beauregard, who's I guess doing our service, recommend for this year's service? How much?
Well, I'll have to get them to price it out.
Because we'll need to put that in your operating budget.
Right.
So we can get, to at least maintain where we're at.
Right, yeah.
And then, we'll have to start the discussion about, I mean, this is a little late in the day to do that, but
Right.
in 2022, we should start a discussion about what we're gonna do. We may elect to put some money in a capital reserve for future equipment purchases at the transfer station.
Yeah, we had that discussion last year, 50,000, I think that got squashed.
Yeah, because we're looking for big money somewhere else.
Right.
I'm not looking for that.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, but that was just food for thought. I'm going to use.
okay, and employees, you hired 3 people, or you just got 3 job
I have
applicants?
3 applicants now, and I'm just waiting for the funds up, and I'll have it on the books. I'll get them certified, and we'll be off to the races.
Okay. And they're useful? I don't know if I can ask that question.
Now, I don't know if we can say that without getting in trouble, but I think that we can.
They're warm-blooded, right?
They want to work.
Okay. Yeah, they wanna work. There we go. That's a good thing. All right, anything else for us?
For the time being, we're in good shape. If you don't have anything further.
I'll be pressing you for your budget pretty soon, because I wanna try to get those things in and out in October.
Right.
Okay.
I'll do some little
Peter,
things
so
today.
working on it for you.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next is.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, thank you.
No. I'm trying to. Victor
You're not Mark?
Victor Druin's
Oh,
out there.
okay.
I'm not scheduled till,
Oh,
5:45.
5:45, okay.
I think Victor's out there. He's sitting
Oh.
out there for some reason. Why did he sit out there, I don't know. Meeting's in.
Do you wanna come next, because our 5 o'clock's not here? Oh, never mind, just kidding.
He's not here anyway.
I think I 5 o'clock.
You, Mark? Is it one of you, Mark?
Yep.
Go right in.
Hey, there we go. Wow, we're lucky duck.
You
Is it
can
my,
also minutes in.
my turn at the helm,
Okay.
or?
Are you Mark?
Yes, I am,
Travis,
sir.
yeah.
Good to meet you. Hello, gentlemen. Hey. You all doing the Howie? Right, let's see. Bought these for comps. I didn't make them 3 because I didn't know. But those are some of the sales that I found there was one sale here that, and I mean, I know this happens a lot, but it's just not right to us taxpayers. Right here. This one is 23 White House Farm Lane. This is not a waterfront property, okay? But how this guy can sell for $1,325,000 and only be assessed 500, when my little camp on the water just went to almost $1 million, something's wrong. But it just, this one really just jumped right out at me, and it's in that packet. Because by the assessment, he's paying $5,700, sells for $1,300,000, which makes him about $500,000. How does this guy get away with $500,000? This is a Taj Mahal. And I know he's not on the water and so on and so forth, but 23 White House.
That would be a question for our assessor, would it not?
But basically these comps here are waterfront, Winnipesaukee, more waterfront, bigger, better houses, comps that sold for far less than what our current assessment is. And then last night, to be short, I was looking through all the tax cards, and for some crazy reason, I've got 80 feet of waterfront. I can't jump off my dock because there's monster boulders there. As a matter of fact, the former owner, Mr. George, had the rock split 3 ways to Sunday to make sure the boats could come in. But for some reason, my base rate on the land value is at $1,320,000. Now, my next door neighbor has the same amount of frontage. He's got a beach where I've got nothing but rocks. And his base rate was $1,069,000. And then I'm looking over 2 doors away from me, over by Ricky's house, and he's got 125 feet of frontage, but his base rate was $1,145,000. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong with this picture? Why am I $1,320,000 for a little itty bitty piece of 80 feet? And I don't know if that was just something that got overlooked or whatever, but when I was looking at all the things, that's what jumped out. You know, because this I took off the tax cards last night because I couldn't sleep, so I had to do something. But there it is, $1,320,000. That was the base rate.
Are you appealing anything to us?
Yeah,
or
my taxes just took a nice $288,800 jump.
Did your taxes take that jump, or did your
Not
assessment?
yet, because you haven't
Or
set the
did
rate.
your assessment take
My
that
new
jump?
assessment, yes.
Well, that's different. Let's use the correct terminology.
Yeah.
So are you appealing anything, or just making
Yes,
observations?
yeah, I just don't think it's right, because how could everybody on the sides of me that have more land, beaches, the base rate is set way less? This is a $250,000 difference. Well, $250,000 with a $288 spike in my assessment. Maybe somebody didn't see something that I saw. Maybe I'm seeing something nobody else is seeing. I don't know how it goes, but
I haven't seen this appeal. I haven't.
No, it isn't. So
no, this is the informal meeting.
Yeah, that's why I just asked you. Are you appealing, or are you
Yes, I'm
sharing
appealing.
observations?
Yeah, oh, I thought you already knew that. This was an informal meeting,
That's not
sorry.
gonna happen until January.
Okay.
And he can file for an abatement,
Gotcha.
because we have to set the tax rate. So it's not going up. Our tax, the amount of collected taxes increased by 200% or whatever the difference is that you're talking about. It's just, the equalization, all it does is equalizes the taxes to 100% of value throughout the whole town.
Right.
So we'll look at your abatement application after the first of the year, and you can make it.
Yeah.
And then,
I was trying to get this squared away now, because when I first bought the home, I had abated going all the way to land and tax appeals, which is a 2.5-year battle. And land and tax appeals says you have no right to charge Mr. Blaney this amount of money.
yeah, but right now what you're presenting us with is subjective differences.
Yeah.
If, for instance, your house was, I don't know how big it is, let's say it's 1,000 square feet, and for whatever reason the assessor went down and you're being assessed for a house that's 2,000 square feet, that's an actual difference. But when you say my lot's worth this and this lot's worth this, Those are all subjective questions. That's what an abatement is for.
No,
We could change it if there was a real clerical error.
Right.
We could change it currently, but short of that, then we have to go to the abatement. And the abatement process happens well before your taxes are due in June or July.
I know, it's far, far away, and the problem is that if I don't do anything now, this will throw off my PITI $300 a month. You know what the bank's gonna do to me? They're gonna foreclose on my
I
house.
don't know how you think it's gonna cost you $300 a month.
Because
That's
I think
$3,600 a year. There are whole houses in this town that don't spend $3,600 a year on taxes. The benefit that you've had for the last 5 or 6 years is an under-evaluation. Maybe they over-evaluated you? Well, you think that, but.
No, but see, excuse me, I don't mean to interject, but I am a real estate broker also. I've been a broker since 1994. I know that as long as they keep spiking these rates the way they're going, and I also talked to my appraiser, and he told me flat out, come this fall, we're gonna see a big difference. There's a big crash coming. It's inevitable.
Well,
And to try to offset this huge expense now seemed logical in my brain, so I didn't have to face this battle down the road when there's 300 people at the door saying, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here. The fact that the land value is so far from all my neighbors, they're all at the million one, and I don't know how that rate was set. But for me to be the only guy on the shore with a little 80-foot piece of land, and I'm being assessed a base rate of $1,320,000, that's a lot of extra money. I work hard. I'm on Social Security right now. I'm trying to retire. You know, I'm 67. It's just,
okay, but just
I'm
so
watching my dream fade away. You know?
Just so you understand, the town, if you're a real estate expert, you should know how it works. The town was running at 76% of valuation. And the state said, no, you gotta be at 100%. So somewhere along the line, somebody in the town is making up that 23%. And that's generally the people that are not on the lake, because the lake was undervalued. That's how it worked. That said, if there's an actual crash in the real estate market, we'll have to do a reevaluation again. You know, I'd rather not. We spent $40,000 doing a reval last year. As far as I'm concerned, the town shouldn't have to do it more than once every 5 years. But if there's a
I
dramatic,
think there's a state law.
the other thing that happens is the DRA, the Department of Revenue Administration, adjusts the taxes according to the valuation. So they're tracking these sales as well.
Well, it is what it is, I guess. It's just very frustrating. We're all trying to make ends meet, and if it wasn't for this crazy COVID driving everything upside down, and it'll all get back to reality, and prices will come back down and everything else. I've already noticed it. I sold a piece of property I owned for 20 years, and it's at the point where I can't afford to keep it anymore because I can't have tenants constantly destroying my property. Then my insurance says, no, it doesn't count, so then I have to pay out of my pocket to fix it. Now I just had to take a 50, 60 grand hit on the sale when I was already 50 grand under market on purpose to sell it. So, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, we're all hurting out here. And just trying to say it like it is, you know.
It's like the guy that you pointed out that, you know, sold his house for over $1 million.
Yeah, you know, then there's, I caught this on, going over last night's tax cards, 10 GWH, $494. This is a 2-story home, marked very good condition. It's not a 1946 scam. And 50 feet of waterfront versus my 80. Okay, a little difference. But her assessment went from 407 to 494. But yet I went from 686 to 975. I'm like, okay, how do we justify that one?
That's on the house part?
Yeah, it's brand new. I've watched it. I sit by it all the time. Granted, she's hardly ever there, but it's still a 2-story brand new home on a lot. at $494 when everybody else is
Well,
paying
these are-
far more.
These are the things you need to keep your file together, bring together for abatement, and we'll take a look at it. Just
Okay,
best-
no, but just, you know, one of those things, I'm just trying to peacefully keep it affordable.
I'm not sure this is gonna do us any good right now.
It'll do you good when you bring it in.
Yeah.
So it's as much information as you can bring forward at the abatement, the better off we'll all be. Yeah, I want to avoid the tax and land appeals, and I'm sure my fellow selectmen will avoid that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep your own.
Do we have anything?
He's out there. I don't know why people don't come in, but,
I don't either. 'Cause I'm-
but John was clever and came in. Thank you. Bunch of people coming in.
Yeah, there's no-
Thank you, Vic.
So, I'm Victor Drew, I'm with the Friends of Pop Whalen. I came to you guys last year when we had the, when we get the town warrant article passed in Wolfboro to renovate the Pop Whalen Arena. And through the history of the Pop Whalen, back when it was built originally in '87, the town of Tuftonboro contributed to it. Made a capital contribution, and the land itself was donated. It was purchased, or it was given to the town of Wolfboro from the Hersey family in the early '70s, and the intent of the property was to always be used for recreational use for the residents of Wolfboro and Tuftonboro. So what I put together is kind of an overview of the current project for you guys, and has a little bit of history. We can go through that, what the utilization is and the costs and so forth. The second document was something that was put together for Wolfboro. It's just more of a reference doc, but it's more the needs analysis of the rink and why we did what we did to take it down and put it back together, and the subsequent budgets for operating costs and to show what that is. And then the third document is our Friends of Pop Whalen brochure. It shows some before pictures, where it was and where we hope to bring it when we're done. So, you know, and so there's a little bit of history and some information on that and stuff. But Tom Roberts is the treasurer with Friends of Pop, and I think Kurt DeWilder should be stopping in too. So he's with Friends of Pop. So I guess, you know, if it's okay, I'll kind of go through the first document. That's really the only document that, and the rest is for reference for you guys if you'd like to do it. But the Friends is a it's a 501c3 that we reached a partnership with the town to help offset some of the tax dollars and keep the overall price down. The project itself is $6.9 million. That's what was approved by the voters in Wolfboro, with a $2.7 million buy down, which is the donation from the Friends. So their overall cost is $4.2 million for the town of Wolfboro. The history we kind of covered on was that Hersey's, the original family, allowed for skiing on their private hill dating back to 1936, and they actually lit the hill in like 37 or 38 at night skiing, but it was really to bring tourism and recreation to this area, to Wolfboro and Tuftonboro. So that was their goal, and they operated it that way right through up until the early 70s when it was sold to the town. In 1987, we talked about a group in Wolfboro, spearheaded by Back Bay Hockey at the time. The Rollins family, there's a bunch of families that were local that participated, but the goal was to bring skating and hockey and indoor recreation, have an indoor covered facility at the time. So that project was built in '87. It was expanded, the lobby in 1990. And through that, at that time, the town of Tuftonboro contributed 11%. So your $20,000 donation was 11% of the overall budget for the original park that was built back in '87. So today, the third page is a rendering of what the new building will look like. There's 62,000 visitors annually to the facility. We have we've always kind of looked at this project as more than just, it's not just a hockey rink, there's more stuff that can go on there. There's curling, there's skating, and with the renovation of this building, it currently operates 5.5 months a year, and the ultimate, when it's renovated, will be able to be used 12 months. So we expect, double the activity in there that we have today. So over the years, you have the Friends of Abenaki. They started in 2015. Over the last few years, they've expanded the trails. They've added 2 new trails. They're adding additional snowmaking this year, and they're lighting all the trails. So the Abenaki ski hill will basically double in length of available trail space. We have what also spearheads out of Abenaki is the Cross Country Ski Association, headed by the Nordic skier. They've got 30 kilometers, and they continue to expand that and improve their operation. And over the last 2 years, we had the Wolfboro Single Track Alliance has been building the mountain bike trails, and there's 5 miles through the Abenaki Woods. They also have 5 miles in Fernald Station, 5 miles in Sewell Woods, and 4 up on Trask Mountain. So a total of 19 miles for those guys. So the total investment, over the years, for the last, starting with Abenaki back when they did the lodge and stuff, we've got about $10 or $11 million that have been put in by both public and private entities from the town to some of the local groups. And there's a lot of Tuftonboro residents that sit on a lot of these boards and participate in these events. So the next table is the utilization. So I took the Tuftonboro utilization of the overall facility. So participating in sports and stuff at the Governor Wentworth School District, Tuftonboro kids represent 10.3% of all the athletes at Governor Wentworth School District. Through your Parks and Rec department, last year we had a little over 8,000 different between day visits at the ski mountain to public skating, a little over to all the other programs that they run. You guys had 824 registered that the town thinks that they had a young staff and they think that they made some mistakes, but it's fair to say that there were 824 people that showed up and said, I'm a Tufton Borough resident, so I get a discounted rate. So that equates to 10%. This is Kurt Wilder.
Hi.
So we have the ski area passes, you know, when we took that, of the 6,000 normal visitors, there's been spikes anywhere from 4,800 since they've redone the mountain, and then we had the little blip with COVID. But they've been ranging between 7,500 and 4,800 visits, and that's in a 60, last year they had only 62 days where the mountain was open because of COVID and staffing and other things, so there were still 4,800 visitors last year. So again, you guys there were 655 passes that were just issued alone just to Tufton Borough residents. This last year, you represented 6% of Back Bay hockey, and you guys had a huge number of daily passes for the either public skating, stick and puck, or pre-skate at Pop Whalen, so you were 30% of that. So suffice it to say, as I boiled this down and started to look at it, it appears as though you guys have about 10% of the overall utilization of the facilities themselves, the mountain and that. So we've touched on, and we talked about this last time, you guys do pay the town of Wolfboro an annual, I guess it's an administrative offset of some sort of 16,000.
You can call it that, I suppose. It's a little more than 16,000, but yes.
16 and change.
Okay. So anyway, so that is that equates to about 4% of the operating expenses of those two things. So anyway, in summary, you know, my goal is to see if you guys would be willing to put a warrant article together to put to the voters to help contribute as you guys had done in the past, and you know, help get this thing wrapped up. I think is
So
really
how much of is it $6.9 million that you're spending?
Yes. Yeah.
How much of that is Wolfboro paying? I mean, how much, the Friends of Pop Whalen are raising money, but how much?
4.2 is the town's portion. 2.7.
2.7 is what you're trying to raise?
Yeah. Yeah. And on that, we're pretty close. We're at just under. We're at 1.9 on our side, which is, I think, on the first page.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's the actual donations and pledges that we've received,
So, I mean, I'm just gonna do the math simply. You're looking for $270,000 out of us? Because that's not gonna happen. I'm just one vote, but it's gonna be a struggle to raise that kind of money in one go. I had asked for some sort of a report on how you came up with the $6.9 million. We're not members of Wolfboro, so we don't have any standing to get anything from them. I also was wondering how much money you've raised so far. How much have you raised?
1.9.
Okay. And who are your major donors so far?
We have several, but I mean, we don't know that some of them are on our website that wish to be public. So it's myself, the Eastern Propane, D.F. Richard,
our company, William McDonald Roberts, contributed.
How's Brewster Academy do with you?
Eastern Propane.
We're working on the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding with Brewster to get that wrapped up. Brewster is definitely in, but we haven't got their MOU yet. So
the only prep school I know of in northern New England that doesn't have their own ice skating rink. So, I don't know why they're not throwing in $6 million to get one built. I mean, your ice time's only $235 and you're losing money at that, so I don't know.
Would you be offering Tufton Borough residents any kind of a discount if they were to contribute?
I mean, I'm not,
Over and above the discount that we get now?
you currently pay Wolfboro rates.
Right.
So you're, essentially, you pay 50% of, like the ski, the lift tickets, you're at 50%. You know, $150 mountain pass, you guys pay $75 for currently. So.
One thing you've done here is you've given us numbers that we've asked Wolfboro Parks and Rec to give us for quite a while, which they claimed they couldn't do. Well, somehow you've worked a miracle and given us the numbers. Congratulations on that. That's very helpful. I appreciate it.
I'm going to sit here politely and not comment on that.
You're a clever individual.
It's my understanding that they give you this. That is what they give you. Is that something you've seen before?
No, it isn't actually.
Because this was.
Dennis may have seen that, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so Brookfield, I single side printed that.
Mhm.
She also sent me Brookfield, and Brookfield has the cover letter with the invoice and the exact same sheet on the back, so I'm
This is all
guessing
great.
that you get this.
This is all good information. I love it.
Have you spoken with Dennis about this project?
Specifically about the project, no.
Yes. Dennis is your Parks and Rec director?
Yes, I have not spoken with him about it.
I spoke with him on the phone.
You will be.
Very enthusiastic about it, so I hope you'll have an opportunity to do that.
Oh, definitely.
So, walk me through this. Pop Whalen Fund, Town of Wolfboro Pop Whalen Fund collects the ice time and the revenues, and then has expenses, and they're showing a net excess of $110,000. Then I look at the attachment A, Town of Wolfboro income statement, and you got a loss of $9,600. I'm not an accountant, I just wanted to know.
He is.
I know. Who handles the money? Pop Whalen or the Town of Wolfboro?
Town of Wolfboro. Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec Department, yeah.
So the Town of Wolfboro Pop Whalen Fund, what's that?
The Town of Wolfboro Pop Whalen Fund is an enterprise fund, they call it, on their books, so they keep it separate. And, you know, some of the things we thought that we could really increase was the, for instance, advertising. They have, there has been very little income from the dasher boards, the banners, and the potential there is we've got just miscellaneous rink fees there of about $70,000 that we think if we get out and hustle, we could increase the revenue significantly there.
Is just let me clear it up here. Is attachment A not part of this? I mean, I know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at two different.
Yeah, ice time.
It says Pop Whalen Fund and miscellaneous rink fees is $13,000. And then I look at miscellaneous rink fees on the other sheet, it's $70,000.
Yeah,
so that's a projection.
Well, that's Schedule C you're looking at on page 4.
Schedule A.
Okay, Schedule A on page 3.
19.
Okay.
This one.
Yeah. So, I was looking at this,
I'm sorry.
our projection on the Pop Whalen Fund.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so if you look at that one, and you look at the ice time income Schedule A, $307,615, and you look at page 3, past that. It's past that schedule you're looking at.
Oh, that's this good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Keep going past that, and you'll see the breakdown there of, on the left side, Schedule A. Ice time income and how we calculated there's $307,615.
Okay.
And most of those hours were not, they were based on previous year's usage, so they were not.
Attachment A doesn't mean anything.
Attachment A agrees with the 2023 projection.
Oh, this one.
That's historical.
Attachment
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I see what you're looking at now. That was from the,
Those were the 6 years.
that's historical data.
A. Right.
Yeah, and that was just,
Looking at this one right here, ice time income, and this is just a detail, that 307,615 comes over here, and that's right there.
So we don't have a 2021.
at the time we did this, we didn't have the information yet, because we did this back in January, last fall, and then,
Yeah. Because I'm looking at a gross sale of 291,000 in 2016, dropping 183,000 in 2020. And I know we had COVID.
yeah, right, yeah, and that was the cause there, but, so the ice, then we did the projection for 2023, and that's what this is here.
Yeah, I got it.
And then all the pages after that support those numbers.
Okay.
And we wanted to show how we calculated those numbers in detail.
So the 70 grand figure is jumping it up from 13,000.
Yeah. And we can see on page,
That's
on Schedule C, you can see how, and the amounts we have for the dasher boards, we compared advertising fees that are being charged in North Conway and Laconia. Right. And those numbers, actually the $500 per year and the $750 per year, I think North Conway Ham Marina's charging $1,200. So I think they're pretty reasonable. Also, the NIC has about 100 advertisers on their boards, and so we don't think it's unreasonable to think that we could get 52 businesses to contribute for the advertising.
You're projecting roughly $120,000, $122,000 in additional revenue, and expenditures an additional probably $67,000.
And no debt. They're not. Lookers not going into debt for this.
It includes the coverage of the debt service.
Yeah.
Debt services.
Debt service is down at the bottom of the projection.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've got your operational projections well covered with revenue.
Great. I guess it just boils down to, my fellow selectmen have 2 votes and I have 1, but I can't imagine us coming up with 1/10 of this budget. I just can't.
Well, I
We
don't
have
think
other
it's,
things we have to,
I don't think it's up to us. I think it's up to the taxpayer, the people that are going to be using
no,
it.
it's up to us to put a warrant article on it. It's up to us to vote on that warrant article and either recommend it or not recommend it. And I don't play hockey, so it really isn't in my heart, but that's really beside the point. If you have a reason that you'd like to invest this kind of money, let it be known.
Well, I think that the Pop Oil and Arena is absolutely a huge benefit to the town and the children that, people, not just children, the people that play there. If it were up to me alone, sure, but I could support, essentially I could support a warrant article
and let the voters decide.
Okay.
Because ultimately it's the voters, the taxpayer that's gonna say yes or no here.
Well, we're not gonna write a warrant article until quite a bit later in the process here, one way or the other.
Right.
So we have plenty of time to think about it, and I'm gonna think about this seriously. I have in the past skated and played hockey at Pop Wayland when I was a much younger man. And
I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of local feedback.
it's a huge
But I
benefit.
think what these
Yeah.
guys are looking for is some kind of commitment, because they're out there trying to raise money. And,
Well, I think that our goal is to present you with whatever information you need. We think, historically, this has been, Tufton Borough and the town of Wolfboro have participated in that stuff at the POP. And so I was hoping to give you guys enough information so that you could, hopefully vote on it. And if hopefully you're in favor of pulling together a warrant article, and that's, I think, our goal. I don't know that we have to put a dollar on it tonight, but
yeah.
I certainly would like you guys to think about it and get it,
Well, it's a lot of money.
if it's.
Is there gonna be any additional benefit to the people that actually use it?
Yes. And and I wanted to touch on that, whether you guys make a decision tonight or if you take it under advisement. It's not the proper name for it, and I guess it does matter in this context, is the Pop Wayland Ice and Arts Center. It's not the Pop Wayland Arena. It is not. It was always named the Ice and Arts Center, but the building was in such poor condition that it wasn't really able to be utilized for much beyond hockey. It was cold out, so you could play hockey. It was uninsulated, and it was kind of rough. What this new iteration of the Pop Wayland Ice and Arts Center is it is truly a year-round multi-use facility, and that is a big driving reason why we're doing this. Yeah, it's going to be a better hockey rink, but it's going to become this multi-use facility that is going to be used by people well beyond the hockey folks. So there's 62,000 people a winter that go through that just for hockey purposes and curling and figure skating. What it is morphing into is something that can be used by the local Parks and Rec department. So if you guys have a rainy season in Wolfboro, maybe you schedule some time where your youth program can go in there and be indoors instead of outdoors. If there are other sports like Little League or soccer that could be in there in the summer, there could be turf down, there could be batting cages, there could be pickleball for your Tufton Borough community members who play pickleball. That can be done in there. There could be, expositions. If somebody owns, I don't know what might apply, but if somebody owns a wedding venue, or if they have a restaurant and they want to have a food show and host a food show, that can be done there in a climate-controlled setting, which couldn't be done before just because it wasn't up to par. One, it was gross, and two, it's not insulated and climate controlled, so when it would be 85 degrees outside, it might be 110 or so inside. So now it can be used all year for things, and that it would be including all of these other incidental users, including from the town of Tufton Borough.
Are the fees gonna increase?
We think the ice fees are going to go up a little bit, but they're still going to be under the mean for the state, I believe. But that's, that gets absorbed by the users as user fees. And then the organizations, if they want to offset, we fundraise, Back Bay Hockey fundraises to offset things like that. It's hard to speak to what the fee schedule is going to be, I don't think that we're Wolfboro government officials, so we can't come in here and tell you, well, if you're a Tufton Borough person, you're going to be paying X less Y. I don't think that's really for us to do. But what we're here to do is create this facility that can be used by Tufton Borough at a discounted rate, which is already occurring. It's just we need to build it.
I think it's, to Guy's point, originally, like that sheet, Tufton Borough residents pay whatever Wolfboro residents. You guys are never charged a higher rate for anything that happens at Abenaki than a Wolfboro resident. So if Wolfboro resident rates go up $2, yours are gonna go up $2. But when I look at those fees, like public skating, is $6, and it's open for 2 hours. So I don't know where else you can go put your kid for 2 hours for, to skate, but that's, it's a good price. I mean, but for skiing on the mountain is $10 for the day for resident rates. That's what it costs if you want to bring your kids to go ski, and you can pretty much drop them off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon. So and know they're going to still be there when you get back. So I think there's a huge benefit just to that. But that's those are the rates.
And I guess I'll just bring up another one of my major objections is when I was getting dropped off at the mountain when I was a little kid, it was free. When the rates started happening, that was a Bill Swafield, Chip Maxfield arrangement to try to raise money for a lodge, which is a good idea because it needed a new lodge. And when we were kids, it was a joint adventure down there at Abenaki. It was Tuftonboro and Wolfboro. But we were never brought into the conversation when you talked about spending $7 million on an ice rink. But now you want some money from us.
Right, but we don't want $7 million or half of that as a joint.
You want 10% of it.
Don't want 3.5 million though. Which would be a joint adventure.
So if you had a 10-member board, do we get to be one of them?
I don't know why you couldn't have that conversation with Christine and Jim.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that sticks in my craw because I don't think there's any guarantees that our ice rates are going to stay the same. The $10 is, I thought it was $2, but I guess it's up to 10. So it's totally out of our control, and you're looking for a major donation from our locality. And I think we need to base it on what our public wants for usage, not on any kind of guarantees from Wolfboro, because I don't see them as honest brokers.
I think that's a fair point, but I think it goes to Bob's point, which is that that should be up to your citizens to decide.
Absolutely, yeah. We're not going to make a decision one way or the other.
Sure.
But we're going to create a warrant article based on what we hear from our citizens. And
the other thing that we did, we've had some discussions. We actually met with the new superintendent at Governor Wentworth and discussed how the middle and high schools can use it, which are of course regional schools, and anything from if the kids want to have, the big thing is like the robotics club, and so drone racing is a thing now. It's on ESPN, and that can be done in the control facility there. The robotics competitions, the Future Business Leaders of America things could be held there. The graduation could be held indoors there if it needed to be. So there are other beyond athletics uses of the facility as well that would include this community.
right. Anything else? I guess I could ask for public input, but I really don't like doing that.
I'm well satisfied with the information that's been provided and the whole, whatever the whole philosophy.
Okay.
Again, it'll be up to our taxpayers if we create a warrant article.
I think what we should do is create a access to this stuff that we've been given tonight. Set a date sometime in October, November for a public meeting to vote to this question. And we'll see what our public has to say about it. Because I think we need to have a little more information from them. I don't know who uses it. I'm sure there are people. Parks and Rec couldn't get a figure out of Wolfboro's Parks and Rec about how many kids use whatever facilities in Wolfboro. So we're kind of playing in the dark. You're saying it's 10% of our population, or our youth population, I guess, or 10% of the use of the building.
10% of the facility, the best I can, I checked 3 sources, so I have access to Back Bay Hockey, all their rosters. I went to Governor Wentworth School District, how many kids, and that's the second stat that I got that right out of the school database, and then the third was from Christine and Bo at Parks and Rec.
Right.
So.
Chip, I just wanted to say that it's not just you that skate there. There's
Oh,
lots,
sure.
there's
Yeah.
lots of
I'm sure
All
there are
ages
older
of
people
people
that
that skate
create,
there.
older people ski at Abenaki.
Right.
And I think you just used a 10% figure for the Abenaki ticket sales. You didn't count, they don't, people don't have to show their papers at the ticket booth that they're from Tuftonboro.
No, well before
Yeah,
Friends of
they do.
Abenaki, I'm 41, and well before Friends of Abenaki, when I went there, when I was, you know, whatever, 10, so
Yeah.
30 years ago, there was a fee, it was $2 or $5.
Yeah, it's $2.
Yeah, but that was that predated the lodge and the snowmaking.
Right, that's when they were trying to make money. 30 years ago was in the 90s.
Maybe, I don't recall it that way, but that may be true.
Yeah. I was going through my third recession back when we were skiing it up.
One other thing I just wanted to add to you, for your information, just so you have it, for, that's our 501c3 nonprofit approval from the IRS. And also we're up to date, all of our tax returns have been filed timely, and we're in good standing with the state of New Hampshire.
Sounds good.
Well, I think a public hearing would probably be a good idea, and it'd be up to these folks to sell it to them.
Yeah, I mean, because just so you understand why I'm going in that direction, is we're spending a big chunk of money out of town on something out of town. That's not something, I mean, Wolfboro has no problem spending money on property in Tuftonboro to put their septic system on it, but we don't spend money out of town. And we're gonna have to ask to do that, so. It's, I think a public hearing would be
I
good.
was researching the Hersey family, and the minutes from Tuftonboro came up with the Hersey's name in 1937, for some reason, it just popped up, it was all the minutes from the thing. And came up, the town of Tuftonboro, one of the very first warrant articles was you paid $1,000 for the improvements of Huntington Hospital in 1937.
Yeah.
Which-
No, and we're spending money to the regional school district, but this is different. This is going to a nonprofit that's building another town's infrastructure. for all this.
And it's totally unrelated to what you folks are trying to present here, but the Tuftonboro residents are pissed off that we're not allowed on to park at your beaches. And I realize that's not your issue.
I think they should be pissed off about that.
But they are.
Well,
They
And it
should
is-
be.
And it is an issue,
I agree with that issue. I agree with the town of Tuftonboro.
so, there, I said it.
I remember when
They're in
they
the right to be upset.
turned down building a swimming pool in Tuftonboro.
Really?
But,
I built one.
well, you.
How much is the user fee?
Hey, maybe there was money to be made, I don't do that.
You know, Wolfboro, I grew up in Wolfboro, so Chip, you grew up in Wolfboro. And there used to be a movie theater, there used to be a bowling alley, there used to be several things that you could do. The casino was there, you didn't know that, but there were a ton of things for kids to do. But look now, other than having activities in the school, the only thing that the town has is the ski area and the ice rink. Kids to do. And if you spent a day down there, you would certainly understand how many people from Tuftonboro go through.
Well, I'm not gonna question their numbers, I
Yeah.
can't. I don't have the figures, and I have no intention of spending the day down there counting bases.
All of my grandchildren go there.
Yeah.
And actually, you guys are a heck of a lot closer to that facility than where I live in Wolfboro. I live up on Stoner Road, and it's all, you know, you guys are right down the road here.
So
Okay.
we'll get a date for when in October.
Yeah,
We should
yeah.
be planning for
Yeah.
that.
And don't overwhelm us, we'd like to have more of a public venue, so
Okay.
I think maybe one of you would do it, or if you want to all come, that's fine, but I'd like to get the feeling for what Tuftonboro wants to do, if we can. We'll also put it up on our forum, and if people have something to say, they can say it online, if they're afraid to come here.
Okay.
All right?
Well, thank you all for your time. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thanks, Bob.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you.
All right.
Is this yours?
Oh, we're not too far off. Amazing. Move along there, old girl.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you, guys.
From Waste Management. Yeah. Banging the football player. Okay.
That's the whole thing. Well, is that a new?
That's the whole thing.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
Is that a new
appreciate it,
agreement?
thanks.
Our agreement's not over with yet.
I know. It's Coca-Cola. Oh.
Jessica's a mess. Okay, we have.
Yeah, I'm going.
You're up.
I won't clutter your desk with any more paperwork.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a mess, so.
I'm here and actually, my neighbor, Mr. Walsh, is here as well. Came here about getting the possibility of some caution signs or kids that play signs on Sawyer Road. I understand Sawyer Road probably is all of 1,000 feet that Wolfboro or Tuftonboro owns, the rest of it's in Ossipee. That the sharp corner is the section of Tuftonboro. I moved in about 2 years ago. We initially bought the property about 4 or 5 years ago, and the reason why we bought that piece of property is it was nice and quiet. We love the Tuftonboro area. I've been coming up here for over 40 years, and I finally pulled the hook and decided to retire up here and make my new life up here. And then they paved my road.
And now you need signs to slow traffic down.
Oh my goodness.
See, Domino, never should have paved it.
Yep. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour, and I getting cars going 25 miles an hour is like pulling teeth with a dirty pair of pliers and no Novocaine. I get that. I'd be happy at even 30. I'll even stretch to the 35 or so. Back in the day, there was no kids there, and now there's 2 families, myself and the Walshes, that have 2 kids that play. Our neighbor, which is technically an Ossipee by 50 feet, has a child there, so there's 5.
Is this Barry Ennis's old house?
One of them.
Right next door, yeah. I bought the one that was Jane's across the street like 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 5 full-time kids there, and then there's another house which is being built now, and their grandkids are there on the weekends when they move in. So there's basically 5 full-timers and 2 part-time kids, and we're just kind of concerned about the traffic that comes around that corner. It's a blind corner. He actually has more of an issue than I do because his driveway enters right into that turn, and how he pulls out in the morning is beyond me.
It's a challenge. I reached out to Jim Bean, the road agent, didn't return my call, but when the school bus comes by, he has to stop with the lights on and then look to see if anyone's coming and then wave my children over. So we would also like a blind driveway sign there as well, children playing. It's really, my wife's almost been hit a couple times. It's really, really bad.
And especially with that blind turn, when the bus stops at his house and comes down Hill to 9, those cars come whipping around the corner, and the stopping time for the bus is very hairy. Like I said, the speed limit is 25.
Is that the posted speed limit?
Yep, posted speed limit.
So it's already posted at 25.
Yep.
But we need some children's signs?
Yeah, just a little, I talked to the police chief about this, and he said the children at play signs and the slow signs are like non-enforceable signs. I get that. But my private attorney said if it comes down to a civil suit, God forbid,
yeah, there's a sign.
A kid, gets hit. There's a sign that gave somebody due notice that there's children in the area to slow down, so that holds a lot of weight in civil court. Even though it may not be police enforceable, it's court enforceable.
So what is this traffic on Sawyer Road?
It's all the time because it's a shortcut from North Wolfboro into Center Ossipee. So it's not just young kids that fly by other people going to work.
I've seen some activity in Center Ossipee. What the heck's going on in North Wolfboro?
Well, anybody that's coming down 171 from Ossipee or North Wolfboro, and they're going to Center Ossipee, they take the short route.
Yeah.
And because they paved it, just increased the traffic, and then especially when they were doing the highway traffic last year on 16, everybody came around that loop to avoid the hour wait in 16's traffic. Now there's cars that are doing 50 and 55 through there, and I know that because I purposely followed them to clock them to see how fast they're going. And I'm like, I can't believe they're doing 55 around these lanes.
It's major throughway to the recycle center too, for anybody that's on that side of town.
Right, and Ossipee.
And the biggest one are the dump trucks. We've got, 16-wheel dump trucks that come flying through there.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
And in the condition of 171, It's,
Sawyer Road's a
else.
much better road.
Yeah.
It is,
Well,
it's flat now, it won't be.
So,
And there's one thing about stopping a car doing 55, another thing about a 16
But it's not
wheel
a-
dump truck fully loaded.
At specific times.
Oh, it's all the time.
It's all day, honestly, all
Because
day.
I've been trying to, put the police chief into certain areas that seem to have heavy traffic at certain times. Like I go through the Durgan Road, Ledge Hill Road intersection there going north.
Where there's accidents
At-
2 times a month.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's mobbed. But I go through there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I can sit there for 20 minutes and wait for a car to go by.
And the problem is, if you look on the Ospey side of Sawyer, towards 171, you can see skid marks and stuff where kids on their cars are, gunning it and slamming their brakes on it. You can see the squiggly marks on the roads that are there. Every now and then I have a friend of mine who's an Ospey cop who will come visit me for coffee, and I have them purposely park at the edge of the driveway, and you could hear cars almost slam on their brakes when they see the cruiser sitting there. And I guess the worst part about it is those that are doing the speed limit, you get cars coming up behind them and will fly past them. And if you do that on that sharp turn, just a matter of time before a kid's hit or there's a head on.
Yeah.
But the traffic really has increased, and I've noticed it just over 2 years, never mind 8 years. So it's like 2 signs, kids that play.
So if we put them out, they're only gonna be on the Tuftonboro portion of the road.
Right, and I've got another meeting with Ospey, because my property
That was
is
my
also
next,
in Ospey.
that was my next question.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can get a radar sign put out there too.
That would be
Those are movable.
Well, if you have one of those, I could easily clock the speeds, or I'm sure it clocks how fast cars are going.
It records, it doesn't pinpoint who did what, when,
Right.
but,
I was gonna put my own signs out there, but the police chief said even though it's my property, the 3-foot easement thing, he wasn't sure how the town would feel about that, but I was just gonna go get some sheets of plywood, paint them yellow with some black slow signs and just
It's better
stick
if
them
we
out
have-
there and.
If we have the highway department do it.
Yes.
do the
your signs will end
process.
up getting shot.
Yeah, and nobody pays attention to private signs anyways. Now, I bought some 12 by 18-inch signs that say slow children at play, but they're this big and nobody sees them. Where I know on Pork Hill, near 171, and I just noticed it last month, so it must have been, I think it's fairly new.
It was
something
new,
blind.
about a month ago.
About a month ago, yeah. There's a nice, big, huge, those fluorescent green signs that say children at play.
So
That just popped up.
for clarity, what's your request?
2 signs, one on the Ossipee Tuftonboro sign coming into the turn from 171, and then one on the Chickville side of Tuftonboro as they're coming into that turn, just so cars slow down. 2
And
signs.
both of them say,
Like, probably, have the one.
caution
Slow
children at play.
Children at play or something of that
Right.
nature. I know there's a different pre-manufactured ones that are out there. Some are like children, caution children playing, some are slow children, some are just slow signs. I don't care what the sign says,
You
but.
you can't say slow children anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
mentally challenged children.
Yeah.
If we
Slow
could put-
children at
But
play.
also it was mentioned the blind driveway sign.
Yeah. I
Yes,
was-
that would be
That's your.
Yeah, if they
We
need to
want
look,
3 signs.
if they need to look, cause it's a horseshoe around my property, you guys know, like Barry's old house across the street there, the horseshoe goes right around the road, it's right around my property, and I'm like right in the middle there, at the bottom of Phineas Graves Road, so if you can put slow children playing right before the Phineas Graves Road, right there, it was right before my driveway and right before his driveway, if we put it way down near Chickville, it might not matter. You know what I mean? There's not really any children down there, it's just right there at the corner.
Right,
That's that worst section because it's all blind there.
okay.
Because we all take our kids for walks down Phineas Grave, so there's always people in that section of the road, and even if you're on Sawyer crossing to Phineas, as if you're heading towards Chickville, you're kind of looking around that corner, you gotta gun it just to make sure that nobody comes whipping around the corner, so.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
No, and I think we had Mr. Bean supposedly coming in. I thought he was coming in today, but I guess he's
Got his
gonna have
report.
to, and then
I would make a motion that we approve the installation of these 3 signs for their request.
We can have more discussion. I would make the motion that we instruct the road agent to place the signs, not just
Well,
approve it.
Yeah,
Well, didn't I say approve the installation?
yeah, I don't know.
The intent is to put the signs up.
Then I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. So we'll direct our road agents.
Thank you very much.
I
Get
certainly
on that.
appreciate that
Help
very
you out.
much.
Yeah.
Like I said, years ago, it was probably never an issue, especially when it was paved, nobody used it. But now that it's all paved, and it's an easy cut through, the traffic and everything is, so, and there's now kids there, so I
Well,
appreciate it very
there was
much.
at least one resident that was very vehement about getting it paid. Sometimes you wanna be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I understand some people, a friend of mine lives in Wolfboro, and his was just paved, and they're up in arms because of the traffic.
Oh.
But the good part about it, he says, he doesn't have to dust his house every day, because of the dust it kicks up, but
If I'm at the end of my driveway, ready to leave, I have to roll my windows down and shut my radio off and just look and listen, and then I go out in the morning.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a matter of time.
You're being cautious at least.
Cool.
It's not just wailing out it, and that's a good thing. But
Yeah.
well, thank you, Jim, I certainly do appreciate it,
Not a
so does my
problem.
family.
Reasonable request.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you very much.
Take care.
All right, can we do a couple more budgets?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of easy ones.
Code,
Really?
code, or building inspection,
Mhm.
4240, 10.
The increase is the cost of living increase, to my knowledge.
It is, and fuel went out,
Yeah, fuel, yeah.
and that's it. So we have an increase of,
Oh, vehicle
There
maintenance.
there are no step increases in this?
No, he's at the top.
yeah, he's maxed out.
Right. That's right, said that earlier.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve 4240, the amount of $77,958.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Other highways and streets, docks and bridges.
Flat.
It is flat, and I think,
Hold on, I'm about to do that.
I'm sorry, Bob. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. Docks and bridges, this is primarily used for permitting purposes and will more than adequately handle the dock and Melvin Village if we get to it,
Yes.
so. And it also does the bubblers at the different wharfs.
Mhm.
So it's flat at $5,000, and then make a motion that we approve
I'll
Center
second.
Highway 4313 for $5,000.
Yep, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, welfare, direct assistance. I chatted with Taffy about this budget last week. Our recommendation was to increase shelter by $1,000, fuel by $250, medical services by $1,000.
By 1,000? Looks like it's by 500.
500, I'm sorry. Reduce food by 500 to 1,000. Electric and telephone increased by $500. And there's a miscellaneous line of $250.
I'm not sure fuel is enough.
Okay, we get an awful lot of help on the fuel line from the Melvin Village Church and from, I think it was either Rhymes or one of those fuel companies that has a fund. It's not, as you can see, there's a zero been charged against it.
Yeah, nobody used it last year because last winter we didn't have the problem that we have this winter.
This fall, for example, yeah.
Yep.
Well, when you're qualifying for welfare, $2 a gallon, it's just as bad as $4 a gallon. So we didn't use any fuel last year for assistance. Other parties in the community paid for fuel assistance. The same is true of
Electric and telephone.
electric and telephone, although we overspent that one by
And food, we didn't spend any, so we're decreasing that, not bad. They go to the food pantry in Wolfboro, I know that. I know many people that do that. I'd make the motion that we approve the direct assistance budget for $10,000.
I'll second for discussion.
I just have a bad feeling about fuel and electric. I've got a feeling that people are going to be hit a lot harder this winter than we've ever seen.
Well, that's...
You have numbers you want?
I mean, how do you want to change it?
Yeah, that's hard. I don't know, I see all right, fuel, it was $1,500 last year. I would like to see it double to $3,000. Electric and telephone was $1,500 last year. I'd like to see that double to $3,000.
So that would bring us up to $11,250 in total welfare.
If we don't use it, great.
Yeah, the only caveat to that we have to don't lose sight of is that when we expend the welfare budget, we're expending it off of the currently $8,250 line. Although we have all these breakouts, that's the number we're dealing with for assistance. What you want to do is go to 11,250. Right? That would be the total amount of assistance that we have in this budget.
By adjusting fuel and electric.
Right.
Yes. And I'm not one to give money away, really, but
I mean,
I think we're in unprecedented times.
I do as well. I mean,
I may be asking for it.
I'm sorry?
I may be asking for help.
Oh yeah, anybody could. I mean, that's what it's there for. But just so you know, we collected significantly more than the $3,826 in shelter money that we expended. So we do get reimbursed on some of this stuff. Well, that goes back into the general fund. I guess, are you making that a motion, the bottom line of $11,250?
If I can get a straw poll that I have support.
We don't have straw polls here.
And I make it a motion, we increase fuel to $3,000 and electric and telephone to $3,000.
What do we do with the previous two motions? Do we rescind those? We take those back?
Yeah, they can get voted on.
Okay. So the motion was to make it $11,250.
By altering fuel to 3,000.
Yeah.
And electric and telephone to 3,000.
Correct.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That's where we don't have straw polls. Patriotic purposes. I think the Legion asks us for $1,500.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
And I'm a Legion member, and they put the flags out for Memorial Day, basically.
But I don't think they have asked for any more than that this year.
No, they haven't.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve budget 4583 patriotic purposes.
Second.
For $1,500. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gifts and donations.
Yeah, they're asking for a $200 increase.
Yeah.
They overspent a tiny bit so far. I don't know.
We did, and this is a case where I should recuse myself because I just received a gift, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, that wasn't your,
Yeah, there was no financial gain.
I think, I'd like to utilize, as one selectman, I'd like to recommend that we utilize this line correctly we hadn't until just recently recognized people who served the town
Right.
and deserved recognition, so I'm more than happy to make a motion to approve $1,200 on line 4589.
And I'm more than happy to second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And do you want to go back to planning and zoning?
Well, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have to find it again on all these papers. No problem. Okay, here we are, yep.
All right, let's just go down line by line. I think we heard that the administrative assistant number for this planning and zoning is a stepping or COLA increase from 14,001 to 14,006. Tuition reimbursement is flat. Advertising is flat. Lakes Region Planning Commission sent us a proposed bill for $4,942. Supplies have gone up $750, but they're buying themselves a new printer and cartridges.
That's not unreasonable.
Postage went down by $1,000. Books and periodicals is flat. Recording fees are up $50, I'm sorry, because they were over budget last year by $28. ZBA's budget only changed by $50, and that was for postage. So all of their numbers are essentially flat. And now we get into the meat of it. They've got master plan implementation at $2,500, planning consultant fees at $2,500, and subdivision engineering fees at $2,000. The $2,000 engineering fee we pass through.
So it's an in and out.
Right. It still has to be budgeted, but.
Right. So we talked about possibly combining the other two?
Right, and just to flush this all out, we're gonna do the legal at another day.
Right.
So, just so you know. So we'll remember that they wanted $5,000 less for that.
Right.
Yeah,
Which I think is a fair compromise, because they're asking to do some of this master plan implementation and use a consultant as opposed to an attorney. There's no net increase in legal fees.
Right.
So if we combine master plan implementation and planning consultant fees, which one of those do we put it in?
I would recommend that we zero out master plan implementation.
Okay.
Or if we want to leave $100 on there, that's fine. Just so there's something on the line.
I guess it could be a placeholder.
Well, it's hard to put money into a zero account.
Right.
So you leave $1 at.
Well, 100 is nice.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that? Why do you feel compelled to combine those two lines?
Because if we leave them separated, we're going to have two functions going on. And what I was told by the planning board chairman was that if he had a $5,000 line item, he could hire the consultant to do both things and also be at meetings that may be contested.
That's how I heard it as well.
But what if there's master plan implementation that they do in-house without using a consultant?
They don't pay any money. They're not we're not paying them $5,000.
No, but we don't know what's involved in some of these implementation, whether they involve projects of sorts. I don't know.
Right, but I think what I'm saying is that her, and I'm gonna say her because he said it was a her job description is gonna be, would include master plan, language for master plan implementation in her consultant contract. That's my understanding of how that's gonna work.
Okay. And they would ask for her help to implement the master plan.
Right.
It's the same.
Right.
So.
It just seemed as though he could make a better deal for her time rather than bifurcating this. If he's got a line item with enough money to satisfy her part-time needs.
Okay. So we change master plan implementation to 100,
Yep.
and then add 2,400 to planning consultant fees.
So I think that gives us a total for planning and zoning of $36,234. And I'll make that a motion.
What?
How'd you come up with that number?
We didn't change anything.
We didn't change anything.
Yeah, we did.
We moved some things, but we
We
didn't.
already added $100 to master plan implementation.
No, that's not what I said.
Oh.
Oh,
I said we'd leave $100 and add $2,400 to planning consultant fees.
Which would make it 4,900.
so you're gonna make that?
It
No.
doesn't change anything at all in the bottom
Okay,
line.
then let's talk about that.
Yep.
My understanding from the planning board chairman was that he needed a $5,000 commitment
Mm-hmm.
to make this thing happen as a part-time consultant. Because that's what she has in Ackworth or some other crazy place.
You just made it clear to me.
Okay.
Yep.
I just,
We're gonna add $100
right,
and combine
Alright.
the other two.
yeah.
So that's
We won't
36,000.
argue any harder over.
$234.
Yeah. So my motion got good.
I second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And we always, as a board, will argue more fiercely over $100 than we will over any other number.
Every board I've ever seen does
I
that.
see that up for county too.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's crazy.
What do we have left? Those are all our budgets for the time being, I guess.
Just so you're aware, Candy printed out the planning board consultant's resume for you
Yes, I have that.
Okay,
and fee schedule.
all right. Well, you're the planning board member. So you're gonna come to us with a recommendation. That's how it's gonna work. So if you feel, if planning board feels like this is the person they want, then bring that recommendation to us and we'll just make it happen.
I thought Gary was gonna, as the
Or you
chairman,
can,
was gonna
but
do
you
that.
need to be on board with that as well.
Oh, I'm on board with it.
Okay,
Absolutely. I think it's just definitely a good person to have in your back pocket.
yeah, because we can't be everywhere
No,
all the time.
no, I support it. But Gary as the chairman will make the recommendation.
Right, along with you.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're gonna advise us, he's gonna make a recommendation, but you're gonna advise the board because you're our member.
Okay.
So, same thing happened when they hired an attorney. Bill was on the board back then, and they decided on the attorney they wanted. We've got, what left, selectmen's updates?
Correspondence.
What do we have here in our packet from Minuteman Press?
That Minuteman Press is the cost to do the town reports,
Town report.
and probably CIP, I don't remember if that's on the.
Why are we doing it spiral bound?
I don't know, I don't like the fact that it's the size that it doesn't fit in with the other 100 or so that I have, but it's life.
We haven't made that decision yet, have we?
That's not for this year, no, we haven't.
No. So, okay. Did Jim Beam buy this truck?
No. You asked
Detail order
him,
for a motor vehicle.
you asked him for a trade-in
Oh, so this,
value.
so this is gonna be good until the 9th of October. So the total vehicle cost for his new dump truck with a $70,000 trade-in value on his old dump truck is $169,816. So can we put that on next Monday's agenda?
Mm-hmm.
The Agricultural Commission about them wanting to have us take that over.
Yeah.
Our North Country Village Water Project grant has been, some grant information has been submitted.
Do we need to make a decision about the garden?
Not yet. They're
Well,
planning to come see us
They need
at the
to,
next meeting.
yeah. Yeah.
I'll talk about that, Selectmen's update.
Okay, it'll be whatever we do. Okay, Chase Point, that's good. Board of Adjustment, Kiva, that's having a hearing. October 5th, the wetlands permit, Headwaters Construction or Engineering, our engineer has submitted a plan of attack from 19 Mile Pier to DES. San Souci Associates is talking about our, can't sleep at night, this is our utility assessment for real estate purposes. We've got the 19 Mile Brook testing has been completed. We don't have a completed report on it.
Right.
But we will. They want to capture all the levers, that's how it's There's a note from a phone supplier, and further notes from our solar person, Rachel Eads, describing a project that would work for a farmer, but probably not for a town. And Department of Safety decisions of order on 19 Mile Bay.
This is seaplane.
Yes.
Decision.
Yeah.
What happened? Did anybody read this?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
approved.
No, no, the appeal, the petition was denied.
Yes, so the landing area is approved.
The landing areas, yeah, well, I haven't seen the approval, but the petition to restrict seaplanes from 19 Mile Bay was denied.
Yes.
Alright, good to know. Doesn't mean it changes everything.
Doesn't change a thing.
No.
Okay, now we're back to
Selectmen's update.
Selectmen's updates. Mr. Pike.
The Conservation Commission met. Progress continues on the observation platform in the Great Meadow. And we discussed a request for a letter of support for the town of Wolfboro to remove a beaver dam, which actually sits in the brook above Witten Pond on their property. And we have sent a letter of approval for them to go ahead and remove that beaver dam that is on their property, because it has the potential of disrupting the operation of the rapid infiltration basins, and in a dramatic rainstorm it might give way and eventually take out part of Route 109A. The testing, as the letter says, has been done. We're waiting for complete results. That continues, and we're very pleased with the amount of cooperation that Wolfboro has given us. Then I met with the Agricultural Commission, and we have a letter. They planned at that meeting to meet with us at our very next meeting, which would be a week from today. And they're gonna request that we make a decision on it, on how the plots are in the town garden are awarded. For example, should taxpayers come before non-taxpayers? Apparently we have people from out of town that have, they don't want to be able to make that decision themselves. They'd like the selectmen to do that. They would also plan on telling us that the whole board is going to resign at the end of the year, leaving us with the town garden to do as we please. This pretty much covers what they want to talk about.
So they're coming in next Monday?
That was the plan at that time, and that could have changed. I don't know if she has requested, if they have requested it. They'll be in to talk to us. There's a 3-page draft that I have, and it's a lot of talking.
Yeah. They need to have a vote.
Right.
It's obviously not working.
But
so.
They're gonna come in and talk to us about it. Generally speaking, no one else has contacted me about anything else. Couldn't be handled on the town website if they knew where to look. That's me.
Robert?
I don't have a lot. Had not had any Parks and Rec meetings. I guess we're trying to schedule one next month. Planning Board, we had a work session last week where we discussed budget, a couple of minor things, but nothing of significance.
Cool. Well, I had the, I think I reported on the budget meeting that we had at our last selectmen's meeting.
Oh, the organizational meeting?
Yeah, well, it pretty
So
much
to
was
speak,
the organization.
some review.
And I did tell them that we'd have some operating budgets to look at on the 3rd or the 4th when we meet again. The CIP meeting went all right. I mean, I don't have a firm grasp on what they're doing, so, because the report that I'm looking at included 2022, which is the year we're in, with things that we didn't do, and I didn't think that we were ever planning to do them in 2022. So our lack of control over their bookkeeping continues. They're gonna have all 3 of us at their next meeting, which is the selectmen's meeting with CIP. So next Monday, at next Monday's meeting.
Selectmen's meeting?
Selectmen's meeting, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We should have together whatever warrant articles we're considering for 2023, so that we can present those as the selectmen's presentations. So, and any adjustments that we feel are necessary, it's really. So, did you note when that next CIP meeting was?
Did I what?
Did you make a note of when that was, the CIP meeting?
No.
Okay.
I can tell you though.
Can you? Oh, it's on here.
It says.
We'll do the next one.
That's September.
That's
So that's not very good.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
So it's gonna be at the next meeting with the selectmen? They're coming into
No,
our
no,
meeting?
we
or
go to them.
We're going to them.
So it's a night meeting. It's not very long. And it's for us to present whatever capital project we're gonna add. And the rest of it, as far as like, I don't know, the police chief deciding he needs another cruiser, that's the sort of thing that I'll defend our position on when I.
As the representative, yeah.
As a representative. So.
Yep, I had to do that last year.
They'll put things on that I have absolutely no belief that will come before the selectmen and be created into a warrant article.
Putting the fire protection for the vault, that'd be a warrant article, would it not?
Probably. I don't know how much money you're looking at.
Well, the price that I got was mid-40s.
It is October 5th at 6:30.
October 5th, Wednesday the 5th,
No,
Where?
here.
Wednesday the 5th.
It is the 5th, yeah.
Is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
That thing's crazy. I can look at this calendar. I thought our meeting, okay, so our meeting's on the 3rd,
Right.
and we go the 5th, all right, good.
And the 4th, we have a budget hearing, or meeting.
Budget committee.
But you don't have to go to that.
No, we don't have to. We might like to, but we don't have to.
They'll review these budgets that we worked on tonight. And they'll yell and scream about the other budgets, and maybe they'll yell and scream about the 7.4 or 7.7% increase.
Maybe.
Well, I like to see how sausage is made, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll
No,
probably
I
go.
appreciate it.
I did notice that last year, I went to the meetings, and every now and again I could help Chip remember something. It doesn't hurt to have somebody there.
It's gonna happen more and more often.
I know the feeling.
So that's it. Did someone at this table mention solar trackers?
Tracking?
I did at one point in time.
That somebody does it, you wouldn't do roof mounts anymore? I heard that.
Oh.
Yeah, that was part of, where the hell did we talk about that? That was, wasn't that last week at the, about 2 weeks ago at the election?
Yes,
Probably.
I think so.
Well, if you can wrestle it out of your brain, if we could get that person in to give us a quote as well. I mean, we should get a couple, 2 or 3 quotes for whatever we want to try to put together for a warrant article. I ran the numbers on the lease.
The power purchase agreement,
Well,
PPA?
it really wasn't a power purchase agreement, it was a land lease agreement, what she gave us. Yeah, she just gave us a land lease agreement, which was $3,000 for the option, $4,500 a year for, $1,250 annual lease, I'm sorry. $1,250 a year. So you gotta,
But that's only while they retain ownership.
there was no option to buy in this lease agreement that she showed me.
No option at all to buy out?
No. And it works out that, even if you back the rent out, because they're also paying, $18,750 a year on a per acre basis. So your total 25-year income is $288,750. Not an insubstantial amount of money.
No, but there's, didn't she say, what's that, 83%?
63.
63%.
No, our net cost would be,
The offset, no, what's the offset?
the offset is six, no, it isn't 63, so it's 37%. So they're offsetting 37% of our power costs. If power stays exactly the same, which is all you can do, you can't put a.
No, can't see the future.
As opposed to if your electric cost is $775,000 over 25 years, and the solar installation, or the solar production at 89% is $689,750. Your net cost is $85,250, which is about 11%. So you knocked your costs down to by about 89%. And I didn't, at that point in time, because I couldn't figure out how our numbers were working, I didn't back in the install price. But if you do back in the install price, you're up to 13% is your net cost of electricity over a 25-year period.
Well, that's a huge savings.
Wicked big. Yeah. Yeah. And
That's an 87% return. Or offset.
offset, yeah.
Offset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, over 25 years, so you're making 6% on your money. Not bad. When we're a municipality, should make a lot of money. And that's if electricity never goes up in 25 years.
Well, and she scaled it. She scaled the electricity costs in her spreadsheet.
But not in this lease agreement thing. So she may have scaled the electricity for some 1.25%, I think is what the number that she was using. But it's unrealistic to think that electricity costs are going to go up 2% or 1%. They went up
100% this year.
17 anyway.
Our bill doubled.
So, I don't know, but we'll keep working away at it. And I think if we could get one more or two more solid operators to come in. I mean, the other thing about what that company who she presented to us wanted to do is they're building one enormous, I mean, they want to put all over the whole transfer station property. So that's not going to happen because we're not going to put it on the top of the landfill.
Right. But what she suggested on the side of the parking lot, just shuffle a couple of Connex boxes around and.
Yeah, yeah. And there again, if we want to look at somebody who's going to do the tracker things, get more panels on one of those than you do, you know.
Right, and their efficiency should be better.
Sure, in fact, smaller amount of land.
Right.
All right, Bob did his article for the Tuftonboro Times.
I thought it was outstanding. I did read it.
Okay, you all said no corrections?
Is it accurate? I'm more concerned about the first paragraph.
This is, you're joining the fourth estate. You don't have to be accurate.
That's right.
Well, I want the information in the first paragraph to be accurate.
Okay, I'll read it so that it's on the interweb. The selectmen and town boards and committees are now in the budget season where 2023 budgets are created, reviewed, and set for presentation to the budget committee. Where they are then reviewed, modified, scrutinized, and debated in public meetings until being set for a vote by town meeting in March. If you want to see any how sausages made, have an opportunity to present questions and voice concerns. Budget committee meetings is a venue to do so before presentation to the voters at town meeting. We're all being touched by this inflation at levels not seen in generations. Oh, what generations? Is it 80s a generation?
Sure.
That's more than one generation?
Absolutely.
Is it? I remember 17% interest, so.
My girls were born in the 80s. It's a generation.
No, I know, but how many of them have grandchildren?
I have 9 grandchildren.
I have a great granddaughter.
Okay, the public is invited to the budget meetings. They don't have the right to say anything. Not until we have a budget hearing is there public input. Right? That's generally the way it works. But
well,
this is fine.
That's what I mean. If you see any wording that you want to adjust in there.
No, I mean, I've gotten as specific as I can with the public over the last 6 years, and they don't care. They're going to bitch about it no matter what.
You're all right with that?
I'm perfect.
You're all right
I thought
with
it
that?
was wonderful.
Right,
Cammy, would you forward that to
Dan.
Dan, please?
You're a real poet.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other business before the board?